Well, the Borderlands 4 reviews are here, and there's something weird going on, and we're going to do our best to get to the bottom of it. So if you're watching this, you may have been a part of our review roundup, and there were no timestamps for the reviews. The information about when they were going to drop was getting very convoluted and confused. Well, they have now dropped. And the score isn't bad, and the score is roughly in the ballpark of where I was hoping and sort of predicting where it would land. It's landing better than Borderlands 3, but it's not landing as strong as Borderlands 2. We're going to take a look at what people are praising, what people are criticizing. Now, if you're watching this later, be sure to hit the like button. We have a poll on the channel right now. Which character do you want to start with? I will be diving into gameplay. I'm going to be sort of checking my phone throughout this stream. Keys are supposed to be rolling out. I'll get that installed and I will play. I don't know if preload is available yet on Steam. That will be available at noon today, so we will be jumping in and trying to play as best we can today. So we're going to just quickly, right here at the start, show you, if you're watching this later or you're watching this right now, be sure to hit the like button. That does help the video find more people, but you'll notice it's getting an 84 on Metacritic, and it's getting an 85 on OpenCritic. And this is kind of what I predicted. I said I was hoping for like an 87 or an 88, but I said I imagine it's going to land in between Borderlands 3 and Borderlands 2. I said I think it's going to be really, really tough for the game to land, higher than Borderlands 2. There's a lot of people that maybe have franchise fatigue, or they're just going to sort of judge it against the backdrop of the previous games, and it's always going to be sort of hard to outdo that. Now, here's where it gets weird. And this is where, obviously, you're going to want to check out my gameplay either today or tomorrow on PS5. As far as I can tell, there are no reviews for console. All of these reviews are only on PC, which is a little bizarre, given that that's the place where we were noticing some of the questions and some of the concerns about performance. Now, there are questions and concerns about console performance that somebody in my chat just yesterday was sort of airing. And they're saying, listen, they're not really showing they're not really showing us, console gameplay. Is there some kind of a problem? Did they run into performance issues? Maybe the day one patch on console is going to fix a lot of those issues, and they didn't want people playing the non-day one patch version for their review. Maybe they were able to get the PC version into better state for review access. I don't know. There's a litany of reasons why they might have done this. The other thing that's a little worrisome about this is that outlets like PC Gamer and Eurogamer did not receive review access. Now, these companies have every right to pick and choose who is going to get access to their game for review access. They're marketing a game, after all. I totally get that. But when you're skipping over outlets that, in my estimation, are pretty fair, pretty consistent, I've never really noticed, overt or intentional or forced negativity from PC Gamer or Eurogamer. It does cause a little concern. Now, this could all fall on the publisher. We know that 2K was very weird with reviews for Mafia the Old Country. They landed like literally within the window of early access. Similar things happened with the NBA 2K26 game. And here we are again, Borderlands 4 reviews are landing sort of like right on the cusp of the game going live. And they seemingly didn't just limit reviews to PC only. They limited who could actually get review access. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to comb through, this is typically what I do, the best review, the worst review, as well as sort of in the middle. I'm going to try and give you, a pretty good spectrum here so that you can go into this game sort of knowing what's going on. None of this is going to speak to console performance, though, so keep that in mind. If you are sort of holding off on pre-ordering, whatever, buying the game, you may want to wait until we have a better picture of how the game is doing on console. I think it's highly unlikely that it's going to run terribly on console, but there may be performance issues that have to be fixed with time. If that's a deal breaker for you, you're going to have to make that judgment call once we have more information. So I do have some people to thank, though. Joker Quinn, Han shot first, and so did you. He starts off the day strong. Let's reset the member battle between the two platforms. It is going to be 2-0. And if we hit the goal, we are going to be doing a Friday night stream with myself and my wife playing Borderlands for you guys. And then there's also the opportunity of doing a Saturday stream if you guys go kind of crazy. We may have a bit of a crazy day tomorrow as well on Friday. So thank you, Pathalon Phoenix, as well for renewing your VIP Plus. Yeah, we did hear that there is no FOV slider on console. That's obviously a bit of a concern because, you know, this is a game, if you've never actually done this, this is a game that is, I think, significantly helped by increasing FOV. I remember like the first time I ever did that, it completely changes the experience. It feels like you're moving quite a bit faster. Let me get my combined chat up here. There we go. It looks like, you know, you're moving quite a bit faster whenever you increase that FOV, and I do think that actually is a significant, you know, perk. And we got some members coming in really, really quickly. The first to do it was a 20 bomb from Pathalon Phoenix, one of the guys around here that likes to drop the big bombs, and he secures the 307, but then it's going to become 312. We are off to a great, great start. I owe YouTube a member. He hit that milestone pretty quickly. So let me pull up some reviews here so that we can sort of do this review roundup for you guys while we wait to get into the game. CG Magazine gave it a 100. Let's go ahead and pop that one out. Xbox Era gave it a 100. Hooked Gamers a 95. Gamers RD. Here, let's go ahead and do a 95. Destructoid gave it a 90. Keep in mind, this is the outlet that was having issues with PC, and they resolved a lot of it once their, you know, PSU wasn't failing. So let's see here. PC Games gave it a 90. Let's check that one out. Now I'm going to be looking for an 80. I'm going to kind of skip past any 90s or 85s. A lot of good scores here. This is actually really encouraging to see how weighted it is. Actually, I really like Game Informer, so let's check out an 85. Let's see what they're saying. And I make this very easy for you. I sort of go to their conclusions. I'm not going to like read through every single one. GamesRadar is usually pretty good. Let's grab their 80. All right, now let's just keep going. Let's get out of the 80s. This is again, this is a good sign, seeing that many 80s. Let's go to GameSpot 70. All right, let's go to GameSpot 70, and then I'm not seeing anything below the 70. We've got some to be determines down here from Polygon and The Verge. This could be because maybe it's an in progress. You know, maybe they're feeling like they want to spend a little bit more time with it. We don't know what the review window was. We'll try to gather that from these reviews. Now, guys, if you're watching on YouTube, do me a really, really quick favor and smash that like button. Try to get us... I got you, Wilbur. Let me pause that. Try to get us to those first 100 likes. We had a huge day yesterday, and unfortunately, we didn't actually get the reviews yesterday. So let's just scroll all the way down here. We don't need to read all the finer details of every review. That would take forever. So they give it a 10 here. Justin Wood over at CG Magazine says, "This is Borderlands perfected, a game that takes the foundation of the series and elevates it in every conceivable way. Funnier, smarter, richer, more thrilling, and absolutely overflowing with reasons to keep playing along with the credits roll." I saw IGN echoing very similar things in there. They give it an 8, basically saying, like, Borderlands is back. You know, this is the best version. This is the best of the best. This is something that I was saying from whenever we first saw it. It looks like you can preload it on PC now. Well, in the event that we have an issue with my code, I'm going to go ahead and do that then so that we're ready to rock and roll at noon. Because we want to be able to play this game as soon as possible, and that way we are able to give you guys gameplay today. Yeah, it's letting me. It says install content, so we are going to go ahead and do that over there on the old Steam. When I look back on the series, they say, "I'll remember the first time I opened a red chest in 1. I remember Handsome Jack's taunts in 2. I'll remember the Calypsos in 3 for better or worse. And now I'll remember standing in Kairos, looking up at Elpis, hanging on." Yeah, it says game not yet released when I click on install content. And now I remember Kairos looking up, feeling the weight of the fight ahead and the thrill of knowing what I'm about to dive in. So I mean, this is a really, really positive review. So seemingly they are very, very pleased with this. So that's actually really, really good to hear. Yeah, I can't install it. So maybe let me close out of Steam and restart Steam. Maybe Steam needs to be rebooted. So again, this is basically a perfect score here from ZG Mag Online, giving it very, very high praise. Seemingly, the guy reviewing this also has a lot of history with Borderlands, all the way back to Borderlands 1. So, take that for what it's worth. If this is somebody who's been with the franchise for a long, long time, that can sometimes work against the review of a game. They might feel like they didn't change enough. They may do a lot of comparison to the old games, and that can make it really, really hard. So, at the end of Borderlands 3, Lilith teleported Pandora's Moon. So, yeah, getting into the story here. No, I've not seen Digital Foundry, excuse me, if they put out analysis yet. The setup feels richer than anything the series has done since Handsome Jack. The stakes are planetary, yes, but they're also deeply human. I know a lot of people have kind of felt that pull of like, we haven't really had a Handsome Jack in a while, and I think that that's fine. I don't think you always need to try to compete with Handsome Jack, even though that's what people are going to probably mentally do anytime they play a game like this. The cast, Borderlands 3 cast always felt like archetypes. Here, they're fleshed out from the start. Their personalities shine through in dialogue. Their backstories carry weight, and their motivations tie naturally into the fight for Kairos. When you pick one, it doesn't feel like choosing a build. It feels like choosing a perspective, a voice you actually want to hear over the course of dozens of hours. This could be a little bit of, maybe like overglowing praise. I don't know if they've ever done this to a certain extent. I don't know if they've ever been like, yeah, we really need to give you like the back story on individual Vault Hunters to this degree. Like, we got backstory in Borderlands 2, but it wasn't like what this is being described as here is like, oh, it's a perspective. Yeah, I cannot install Borderlands 4 right now on Steam, so I'm not really sure if it's a regional thing or what, Lone Wolf, but I cannot. Let's see here. Gameplay is as polished as it's ever been. Shooting feels tighter than ever. Weapons feel more distinct. Let me see if I can get the text a little bit bigger for you guys. Let's see here. They feel more distinct, and somehow each gun, even from the same manufacturer, feels wildly different, and the addition of the grapple hook completely changes Traversal. For a series that's always thrived on its gunplay, it's wild how much joy I got just from moving. So I think this is a good takeaway. I'm hoping that we see this echoed in other reviews as well. Guys, if you're enjoying this very quick breakdown on Borderlands 4, like a review roundup before we're able to jump into gameplay, be sure to hit that like button over there on YouTube. We need 20 more likes. We've only been streaming for about 10 minutes, so thank you guys so much for a strong start here on Thursday. A little bit of an early start for me. I usually don't go live with a public stream until about 10 o'clock. So, swinging into combat. But I hope this is echoed, because this was the number one thing I walked away with from that early gameplay showing, was that they were really emphasizing movement. People on Twitter were posting they could install the game on PC. I'll keep trying. I'll just close and reopen Steam multiple times. Swinging into combat, scaling vertical arenas, and discovering hidden loot tucked into places I would have never reached otherwise. It all adds a layer to the series that was missing. Thank you so much, Noberto. Guys, it's a reminder, we're working on a pretty big goal this week to unlock that Friday night stream where Madam and I will be playing Borderlands together. We've got a stretch goal this week as well for a Saturday stream if you guys want to keep hanging out with us and keep the party going. And thank you so much, Noberto, with 52 months. As we're eating good as gamers, can't keep up with all these titles dropping. My backlog is getting bigger and bigger. Much love, homie. Thank you so much, Noberto. Then there are guns. Borderlands has always prided itself on offering bazillions, but what matters here is that each one feels unique. The new licensed part system makes every weapon feel unique. Being able to have a Jacobs gun with some Malawan properties makes every single gun feel different. It's a system that encourages experimentation, rewarding you for tinkering and tailoring your arsenal until it fits your playstyle like a glove. Every loot drop is exciting because you're not just looking at numbers, you're looking at possibilities in a way you've never seen before. I don't know how much tinkering and tailoring you can do. Have they said much about this, or is he just sort of expressing his enjoyment of the guns themselves? I feel like the guns are not, you can't like craft them or anything like that. Put drops in the title. Hang on. Drops active. There we go. Make sure you guys are renewing your primes, renewing your memberships, all those things. Hitting like. Enjoy just renewed their membership for 27 months. Apparently, the platinum is going to take 100 to 120 hours. Gearbox cooked, I fear. When you say they cooked, I'm not sure what you mean. You mean like they did a good job, or that's going to bump the line to 314, and that's going to bump the member battle to 4 to 5. I'm sorry, Twitch, you actually have 5. Actually, no, it's 24. It's 24. YouTube has 24. Pathlon Phoenix at a 20 bomb. Okay. By the time I hit level 50 on my first character, okay, so this person reviewed the game long enough to get to level 50. That's helpful information. I wasn't close to done. I've already started a second, cruising toward the cap because the post-game content is so compelling. The new vaults are brutal, sprawling challenges that demand coordination, strategy, and builds that can stand up to punishment. They're not throwaway side content. They feel like essential parts of the experience, rewarding in a way that makes every wipe worth it. I'm kind of hoping I'm kind of hoping that this is maybe overstated. I don't want post-launch or like post-campaign content to be brutal. I know there have been raid bosses that like you are tough, but then you get to a point where you can really manage them. Playing this with my wife, like I'm not wanting to go run vaults and feel like I'm playing a Destiny raid or something where wipes and high fail rates require like what they're saying, like coordination and strategy. I'll be interested to see if they actually decide to put this level of difficulty in the game. I don't know. I guess I'd have to look back and think about my memory of like the raid bosses in Borderlands. A lot of them were a little absurd, honestly. You had to cheese some of them by like hiding on a cliffside and stuff. Didn't know you started. Yeah, we started a little bit early today so we could pull up all the reviews and give you guys a good roundup. Kairos itself is a character. The landscapes are varied. Driving across is pure joy. Fast travel if you want. Every trip felt like an adventure. Minor touches along the way. You're able to skip the intro when rolling a new character. Is a simple change, but it instantly makes replaying more inviting. The UI's been cleaned up, making inventory management faster and smoother. Even the audio design stands out. The guns that roar, the environments that hum. And of course, Borderlands is always best with friends. 4 co-op is as good as ever, letting you tear through missions, crack jokes, and scrape each other off the ground in the middle of impossible firefights. It's chaotic, loud, and endlessly fun. The kind of co-op experience few games manage to sustain for dozens of hours. But the real reason Borderlands 4 stands above its predecessors is respect. It respects its audience enough to not drown us in jokes at the expense of the story. It respects the legacy enough to bring back old faces without cheap pandering. It respects the gameplay loop enough to refine it without overcomplicating it. And it respects the villain enough to finally give us someone worth fighting. That's probably the best paragraph we've read yet today about this. This is Borderlands perfected. And so we've already read that take right there. When I look back on the series, okay. So this is basically a perfect score. Okay, they're giving it 100. Let's go look at a lower score. So this is GameSpot, and they gave it a 70. To its detriment, Borderlands 4 feels like a direct response to Borderlands 3. Okay, so their perspective seems to be here that. Look, this game is more of a response to BL3, and that's not helping it. I'm not sure, we'll have to see how they establish that opinion. Let's bump text sized again. Oops, let's bump text size for you guys. Feels like their strongest assortment of Vault Hunters to date. While no past Vault Hunter has been a truly bad choice, this is the first time that each Vault Hunter feels incredibly useful, so that's good to know. There's no way to truly know if all 4 Vault Hunters equally stack up until folks have had time with a substantial amount of hours playing as each one, but for once I don't feel the need to dissuade first-time Borderlands players from 1 or 2 options. Each Vault Hunter is fun to play because they all feel powerful and can stand on their own or make meaningful contributions to a team, and it feels rewarding to learn and master each of their respective abilities. This is something that we started noticing when we were kind of looking at it, and we were looking at, what people were saying as far as like who they were going to play as, and I thought, it sounds like they nailed it if everybody's having a hard time picking their character. Like past Vault Hunters, they don't contribute much to the narrative. However, this is what I was expecting. I don't really expect them to do much with the narrative. There's usually like recordings and stuff. But it's usually not that significant, and I'm okay with that. This usually isn't much of a problem, as the main characters of Borderlands have regularly been those around the Vault Hunters. Longtime fans remember Angel, Tannis, Scooter, Handsome Jack, Tiny Tina, Mad Moxie, and unfortunately Claptrap. As part of the clear plan in Borderlands 4 from the last entry, this game does not focus on these characters. Borderlands 3 had a familiar face popping up with felt like every 30 minutes, while Borderlands 4 only has a handful of returning characters, and they're on screen for only a few minutes, save for a couple exceptions. Subsequently, it's on the new cast of characters to create any semblance of an emotional connection. Unfortunately, they're all very boring. Rush is your typical strong guy with a heart of gold, for instance, and Zadra is a dubious scientist with a shady past. It's difficult to connect with these people because the game doesn't give any characterization beyond simple generalizations, and few feel consequential to the plot. Thank you so much, Steve Stir, for doing a Member Plus. That is currently the big thing we're working on the channel, and that's a double. That's worth 2. That takes us to 316. We are trying to get to 600 people at Member Plus and above, and you just added to the total. So thank you so much for doing that. You get access to the Discord. You get access to Green Room. Extra content is there for you. Thank you very much. You're welcome, bro. I appreciate it. I knew Borderlands 4 characters had not grabbed me when I was playing through a mission where, had I been fast enough, I could have saved the life of one of the Vault Hunter's allies. I was not fast enough, failed the optional objective to save him, and he died. But I didn't feel anything for the loss, and the game continued with other characters fulfilling that character's role. Yeah, but again, this is all subjective, and I get that, like, the person writing this, like, cares about this. I don't know if I was ever playing Borderlands 2 and feeling a deep attachment to side characters and things like this, like an optional mission, you know, to save someone. This is, I don't think, a major cause for concern. I would say, obviously, if you're super concerned about the story and about the characters, this would be a cause for concern. But I don't think this is like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they did this. Yeah, I agree. I do think it's very interesting that all of the reviews are PC. I'm not quite sure why that is. It's possible they had better version control on PC going into review access, and they weren't confident in, you know, letting people play the console version. Maybe day one patch will make console version, you know, totally fine, but they didn't want people playing that for review access. As much as I hate Claptrap, he evokes some emotional response from me. I see him and I wish to do all in my power to make him suffer, and I laugh with glee when he's forced to confront something uncomfortable or traumatic. Hang on here. It looks like we're going to take a little bit of a turn here, and a 20 bomb's going to come in from Pathalon Phoenix, one of the kings around here of gifting, and he takes us to 336, and he takes that member battle, and he makes it 46-5. Purple's going to have to play catch-up here. Thank you so much, Pathalon. Guys, if you get a gifted member from Pathalon Phoenix, be sure to say thank you and consider upgrading that to Member Plus, or add to the total yourself as we work on a big goal this week. There's a lot of content that you guys can unlock that is extra. We don't typically do weekend streams. It's a difficult thing, but I'm making the time for it this week for Borderlands if we can hit some of those. So they say Borderlands 4 seems to do everything in its power to make sure that its characters cannot be hated. In doing so, the game overreacts and centers its plot around a cast that's so two-dimensional and bland that after meeting anyone new, I was tuning out what they were saying within minutes. That does mean the complaints about the humor being cringy or the characters being annoying are gone, but instead, now there's no one to love. So Borderlands 4 story and characters are just dull. And a single comes in from Joker Quinn and bumps the line to 337. I don't know if Joker Quinn is going to suddenly take a different tune today, and if he's going to try to set up a dunker. The next milestone being 350. I currently owe YouTube 1. Yeah, I don't know how to say this without saying it. We're not doing this today. If you guys are going to come in and try and invoke all this other stuff that has nothing to do with Borderlands today, I'm just going to have to time you out. I just have no desire to be talking about stuff like that right now. Nobody here is wanting to broach that subject. You're going to have to go somewhere else if you want to discuss that. It's not quite clear what your emotional investment in Borderlands 4 is supposed to be. I mean, everybody's different, but I would say it's the loot. I would say it's the loot, right? In the first 2 games, you were hunting a vault to get money, and especially in Borderlands 2, there was an easy-to-hate a-hole goading you into killing them the entire way. In Borderlands 3, you're a freedom fighter trying to protect the characters you've met over the previous games from twisted live streamers. Yeah, I mean, I don't ever really think I felt all that tied to the story. I felt like I enjoyed Handsome Jack and Angel and what they brought to the story in Borderlands 2, but mainly loot is the driver. You know, finding places to grind loot, bosses to farm. I would imagine that there are plenty of people that want a really impactful story in Borderlands, and if that's something that you want, it sounds like it's on the bland side. And again, this is according to this review, though. Other reviews were praising the characters in the story, so it's going to have to be a little bit subjective there. Borderlands is messy, though. Your character wants to find a vault, but they're sidetracked when the resident big bad, the timekeeper, sticks them with an implant that lets him track the vault hunter and control their actions for a brief period of time. And so you think, oh, I got to get this out of me, and that would be a strong adventuring hook. But then almost immediately you get a little robot companion that can block the timekeeper's signal, so he can neither track nor control you, and it's like the implant isn't even there, but your character still listens to Claptrap on first meeting him and puts vault hunting on indefinite hold to instead rally together a group of resistance fighters to take down the timekeeper and his 3 lieutenants. You become instantly loyal to a cause you heard about mere moments prior, and the far more compelling motivations of getting revenge or gaining independence are left behind. I'll have to play this and make my own assessment. I don't feel like they've ever given you like really, really significant story elements about your motivations. Other than that, you kind of enjoy killing and you kind of enjoy loot. Like, that's kind of it. I mean, Vault Hunters aren't superheroes. They're not saints. So I don't know why you would need a deep reason for them to join some fight. So I keep playing because for as poor as Borderlands 4 story is, the gameplay is pretty freaking good. The moment-to-moment gunplay is ridiculously fun, complemented by each Vault Hunter's extraordinarily class abilities like boomeranging double-bladed axes, bouncy ball black holes, heat-seeking missiles, and ghostly wildcats. Enemies explode into glorious viscera and multicolored loot, each flashy bauble a chance to acquire a new favorite firearm or grenade or throwing knife or rocket launcher. I loved poring over dozens of items that I would loot with each mission to carefully curate what could be scrapped for cash and what deserved to rotate into my loadout. See, this is why I play Borderlands. Like, I don't play Borderlands for my guy to have like very specific, motivations to help. What's good, DMG? Thank you for the drops. You guys are welcome. Yeah, we got drops turned on over here on Purple, and I'll be playing the game as soon as I'm able. I should be getting an early access code sometime. They said they would be rolling out those codes starting at 8 o'clock, so I'm going to continually check my email. I'm also going to continually restart Steam and see when exactly I'll be able to preload it. Even if you change your Vault Hunter without starting a new save file, each possesses 3 distinct skill trees that allow you to change their playstyle in substantial ways. One of Rafa, the Exo-Soldier's tree, focuses on using elemental blades to wade into melee, for example, while another gives him auto-aiming shoulder turrets. See, this is good. I'm going to avoid the blades, I think. I'm not a melee guy, but I like what Rafa looks like. His entire kit is based on doing a lot of damage with hit-and-run tactics, but you have agency in deciding how that damage is primarily dealt. Reallocating skill points isn't free, but once you're a few hours into the game, you'll be finding enough excess loot that you can regularly sell what you are not using to afford a respec. Thank you, Jim Rayner, for bumping the member count by 1 to 338. Thanks for sticking with me and doing a member plus. I greatly appreciate it. The member battle is now 48 to 5. Here we can put the member battle. Let's get it up here so you guys can see it. There you go. That's the battle between the platforms with YouTube currently in the lead. So yeah, I'm anxious to try out his build and just avoid melee altogether. There's a similar level of customization involved when it comes to equipment. Early on, I designed a build for Vex. So Vex is the Siren. I focused on ricocheting bullets and throwing knives off enemy heads to nail multiple critical hits in a row, and I figured that would last me the rest of the game. It paired well with her ability to summon carbon copies of herself armed with firearms of their own, but then I found a grenade that created black holes and made everything Sucked into it, susceptible to elemental damage, and suddenly the shotgun that could switch between corrosive and radiation damage that I had found minutes before seemed pretty good, and I reallocated Vex's skill points to focus on her stacking multiple elemental effects and waiting into melee. This is exactly what Borderlands is supposed to be about. You know, I would say that in general, this is really encouraging to me. The story stuff does not really dissuade me. That again is just not really what I come to a Borderlands for. It was just as much fun as my previous build, and I'd go on to make plenty of others for Vex over my playthrough. Borderlands 4 regularly rewards experimentation, and with the abundance of loot keeping your money reserves high, you're encouraged to pay for the skill reallocation fee to jump into new builds without fear. Yeah, generally in Borderlands, you have a really, really good amount of cash from fairly early on. I remember being a little bit poor in the beginning of Borderlands 1, but that doesn't typically matter. Great coverage from a looter-shooter veteran. Gearbox needs to listen to this guy. I appreciate that, Jim. Thank you. Just getting here. Who has the most maneuverability? I don't know if anybody's spoken to who has the most maneuverability yet. Borderlands 4 also has excellent movement mechanics. Maybe they'll say here. Sliding and climbing, both of which were added in Borderlands in the third mainline game, are faster than before, and new gliding and grapple hook opportunities open up new ways to travel. While gliding, you can soar over large gaps and hover and shoot in midair, whereas the grappling hook gives you the option to grab and pull explosive containers to you, giving you a makeshift bomb to throw at enemies, rip away enemy shields, reach faraway platforms, or swing around the different levels. The grappling hook is limited in that it can only connect to certain points and objects, but almost every level has an opportunity to use it in some way, and adding momentum to your strategy in a firefight can present some fun options. My favorite example of this has been when I found a shield for my Vault Hunter that would explode a second after breaking, damaging all enemies around me. I equipped it and later ran into a fight where one pesky flying enemy was proving extremely difficult to hit with my loadout and was focused on methodical marksmanship, not spraying and praying. So I used the grappling hook to pull myself away from the enemies on the ground just as they broke my shield, sending me soaring through the sky in the split second it took for the shield to explode. I killed the flying enemy with the subsequent area of effect explosion, then quickly turned around in midair and nailed the remaining enemies still on the ground with a few headshots. I had somehow turned myself into a makeshift catapult where I was the bomb. Yeah, I mean, this is the type of thing that you want to hear about, a build. Are the reviews good? They have currently an 84 on Metacritic, and they have an 85 on OpenCritic. There's only 24 reviews on OpenCritic. There are more over here. Interestingly enough, there are no console reviews, so that is a bit of a cause for concern. If you guys are enjoying the coverage, try to get me to 200 likes as fast as you possibly can on YouTube. That is immensely helpful. If these types of review rundowns are helpful to you, we appreciate it so much. You guys being here and supporting the content. Early in the morning, earlier start than normal. Usually right now we're in morning coffee, which is a great reason to be a member to the channel. So consider clicking join and supporting, or becoming a member or a sub or a prime or any of that. And then you can get into morning coffee in the morning hours. Particular situation never happened again. Okay. Those are the moments which I enjoyed Borderlands 4 the most. Okay, abilities and blah, blah, blah. But this all occurred early into Borderlands 4, probably the first 10 or so hours. This joy lessens the further into Borderlands 4 you go, as you run into pretty much every enemy type about halfway through the story, and the new ones you run into after that are mostly variations of what came before. I mean, that's pretty much par for the course for Borderlands. 84 is not great. I think 84 is actually good for Borderlands. 89 is Borderlands 2. 81 is Borderlands 3. So I think landing in between is perfectly fine. Yeah, I'd rather see the user scores. If I had to guess, unless there's major performance issues, I bet you the user scores are perfectly fine. I think, what the heck? I think basically they have built a game that fans are going to love from what we have read here. This repetition eventually leaves combat feeling stale, stretching out the game beyond welcome. Yeah, this again, I don't think is a major criticism. I really don't. The repetitious enemies or repetitious fights, I mean, that's Borderlands. I never felt like I got to the end of BL1 or BL2 and felt like, oh man, they're really bringing the variety. Like, that was just never really a major thing. It's 7 good. Zubair, I swear to frick, don't even start that. Borderlands 4 is full of side quests ranging from absurd tasks like helping a woman who's losing her mind perform unhinged experiments on other people or participating in a triathlon around a whole section of the map that ends in you carrying a bomb towards the finish line to collectible hunting. It's clear that the game expects you to do some of them as you don't level up fast enough to remain on par with the enemies you encounter in the story without doing several optional tasks to grind for extra experience. So you could view this as good or bad. Some people don't like when you have to do side quests to level up. And I think that's okay if you don't want to do that. I think generally in a game like this, you have two alternatives. The side quests either overlevel you or they're required to pepper in there to keep you on pace with the game. This can slow progression quite a bit if you avoid the optional tasks for too long, and unless you're ready to play Borderlands 4 on the easiest difficulty, it's extremely difficult to do any meaningful damage to an enemy that's 4 or more levels higher than you. It's always been that way. All of which would be fine if the side quests weren't so boring or at least possessed some humor, a traditional Borderlands tentpole that's missing from this entry. As a result, the only incentive to do an optional quest is to level up high enough to get back to the main quest. The side activities are frustrating, time-filling fluff, not meaningful narrative experiences. So again, I mean, subjectivity is fine in a review, and this person clearly cares a lot about story. So they're like, yeah, they're not meaningful narrative experiences. You know, they're just side quests to help you level. Yeah, I kind of expect that in a game like this. I don't expect Borderlands to have these, like, emotionally poignant moments or meaningful story elements when, like, you know, we were picking up body parts for Zed in Borderlands 2, and we had to do it with a car and do it fast. I mean, the side quests have never been that elaborate. Now, maybe their issue is that they're not even funny. I don't remember all of the side quests being funny. I mean, there certainly were some, like Meat Stick and others, that were, you know, that were entertaining, but actually, Meat Stick might not even have been a side quest. I think that might have been required to get Tiny Tina to help us. So, I thought they said in the paragraph before that the side stuff was good. It's clear the game expects you to finish line. I mean, it says it's full of side quests ranging from absurd tasks like helping a woman who's losing her mind perform unhinged experiments on other people or participating in a triathlon whose whole section of the map includes you carrying a bomb to collectible hunting. It's clear that the game expects you to do some of them as you don't level up fast. Now, they're saying it slows progression. Now, down here, they're saying that if the side quests weren't so boring or at least possess some humor. I mean, it feels like they do possess humor, like a woman who's losing her mind, unhinged experiments, triathlon with a bomb, unless, of course, they're saying, no, these are actually not funny. I don't know. All in all, if uncovering loot, crafting builds, and unleashing chaotic mayhem is what you're looking for, Borderlands 4 has you covered. It's the most mechanically sound Borderlands game to date, and the various Vault Hunters each present an entertaining opportunity to tackle the game in a different way. Just maybe find a good podcast or video essay to fill the moments between the shooting and the looting. The game's story and characters aren't strong enough to hold your attention on their own, and the game's combat begins to drag once you've seen all the enemy types there are to see. This is not a concerning review to me. These sound like very, very particular quibbles. Again, I don't come to a Borderlands for a particularly strong story. As great as Handsome Jack was, even that story's pretty basic. Even that story is sprinkled throughout, right? Like, Handsome Jack is obviously funny. Like, I saw, you know, they had a dry erase board, and they wanted to know if people could know who said the line, like, all these pretzels suck. Like, that was him, obviously, and it's a funny moment. But I don't necessarily need that in order to enjoy the game. And repetition being in a looter shooter is not surprising. I don't expect to play all the way to max level or all the way to credits and not have some repetition. Like, I expect that. I expect enemies and units to be not the same, but I expect them to be similar to each other. So I don't find this to be concerning. I think this is a perfectly fair review. I think they're honest about their biases. They give it a 7. The good feels like the best starting lineup of playable Vault Hunters to date. Chasing loot, crafting new builds, and seeing your efforts rewarded is an entertaining gameplay loop. This is strong enough to convince me that this is a good Borderlands. Now here, the main characters aren't interesting. cheapening emotional stakes. The dull optional side quests aren't that optional when you need to do them to stay on par with the the leveling curve, and then repetition enemy designs drag down the experience. These do not seem like that big of a deal for a Borderlands game. I don't feel like these are detrimental to the experience. So this is the lowest score yet, and this one is a touch higher. This is 4 out of 5 stars. Borderlands 4 review. This is here, GamesRadar. Undeniably an excellent looter shooter, but one that requires a bit of tunnel vision to fully enjoy. So be interested to see what they mean by that. The point of the optional quest is to make up the leveling curve. They basically said that if you completely ignore the side quest, you'll fall behind leveling in the main campaign. Lone Wolf says, I do care about the story, but this person seems to have a different mindset to other reviewers because I'm not seeing other people say the same about the story and the characters. This is true. We've already read a review this morning that said that the characters in the story are great. Now take that for what it's worth. Like, everybody's different. So, you know, that reviewer at GameSpot seemingly came to the conclusion that the story's not very good. Stop doing that. I'm never gonna subscribe to a channel that does a pop-up. Borderlands 4 extracts the essence of a finale shootout and spins it across the entire game with a staggering amount of guns, allowing for pure carnage. While the game's story and tone fall far from those heights, so this review seems to say that the story is kind of bland. At times, it simply doesn't matter as much as shooting 6 robots out of the sky with an electrified explosive gun. Yeah, this to me sounds like a Borderlands review that's lined up with how I think. Like, a dull story, okay, and the antagonist. Level scaling can be awkward. Now, that's interesting because that's come up now twice now. Irritating dialogue, all right. Beautiful art direction, staggering amount of guns, excellent shooting. Yeah, see, that's generally what I'm looking for, right? Now, they're saying it's a tricky game to score. If you're eyeing up Gearbox's latest looter shooter solely for an opportunity to turn hapless raiders into sludge and throw explosive guns at robots until your trigger fingers go numb, I can cut to the chase right now and tell you that, yes, Borderlands 4 will let you do just that, and you'll grin from ear to ear while plucking loot from the gloop. This is, after all, exactly what Borderlands as a series is designed to do. Live fast, die young, pay to be resurrected, and do it all over again. But beyond that core concept, Borderlands 4 is dated and at times irritating. Undeniably an excellent looter shooter, but one that requires a bit of tunnel vision to enjoy. So interesting. I don't think this is the first time I've seen the phrase dated either. That's interesting. 20 months from Gritter over here on Purple, adding to the total, getting us to 339. Thank you so much, Gritter. It's now 48-6. Twitch gonna need to kick it into high gear if they're gonna try to catch up here. They pick up. Okay, we know this. Why? Although Gearbox is reluctant to call it an open world, I've got no qualms with putting the label on it. While the main quests take you through 4 distinct biomes, going between each is seamless, which effectively melds them into one massive sandbox. Fast travel points need to be unlocked, a la Assassin's Creed. Come on, get off. Assassin's Creed viewpoints, albeit here you're reactivating missile silos, and there's a wealth of side quests to pick up in the hub cities, out in the wild. That's an open world game. Yeah, so it sounds like it's got some of the open world game stuff, open world tropes. Drops, you should just watch and you'll get the drops. We're in the Borderlands 4 directory. Starting tomorrow, anybody who like gifts or does sub over here on Purple as well, you'll get like a badge, a Borderlands badge. Borderlands 4's open world is very fun to tear through. A one-button vehicle summon makes traversal incredibly easy, while the baddies littered across Kairos look like road-siding shooting galleries prove very hard to ignore when you're riding a scrappy motorbike with lock-on missiles. There's not much emphasis on exploration. Sure, you might bump into radio broadcasts that you can hack to trigger to a wave defense minigame or a bunker to spelunk for loot, but a generous map UI means you've almost always got a clear objective to be traveling towards. Like, this doesn't mean that there's no emphasis on exploration. It just sounds like they didn't do exploration. The other person made it sound like you can do quite a bit of exploring and find stuff. So, it's time that you learn about Brave Browser, no ads. I don't run ad blocker on websites that I use for content. I think it's completely fair to let them run ads on their content. If you run ad blocker and watch my content on YouTube, you're quite literally taking money from me, and I'm not going to do that to them because I don't want to do that. I don't think that that's good. Now, yes, some sites get absurd and I stop going to them because I can't even interact with their content, but Yeah, the badge is tomorrow. Yes. The best kind of Kairos is the way it's presented. Gearbox has softened Borderlands' iconic cel-shaded art style even further, with more detail and softer color palettes, ensuring everything looks beautiful, particularly during some fantastic cosmic set pieces later in the game, while remaining easy to read during high-stress fights. Wait, Wired Rope, you have the badge? So you can get the badge now from gifting? I thought it started tomorrow. Yo, and Alex drops a 5-bomb right now over here on purple and gets us to 344 and takes the battle to 48-11. Thank you so much, Alex, for supporting the channel with some gifteds. This badge? No, there's a new one that you're supposed to get for gifting during this time. Yeah, I'm not seeing it, Rope. Not really sure what's going on. Defo Side renews their membership for 18 months. Thank you so much. Taking the member battle to 48-12 and setting up an easy dunker. We're at 345. At 350, I owe you guys a member on whatever platform gets it. It's a 5-bomb to steal it, boys. Borderlands 4 manages to own the fact that it is essentially a VIP from Talica and Keeg the Geek. We got some more renewals coming in, a Prime renewal on Twitch, and then a VIP renewal on YouTube. Thank you so much, and that's going to take us to 347, and that's going to take the member battle to 49-13. We will see if Purple can dig out of this hole. Now they got a hype train going, and see if they can't catch up to YouTube. Hang on. Only a few times toward the end of the game did I feel like I was punished for not engaging with those optional layers. Okay, I'd occasionally regret skipping over a silo I should have activated for a closer fast travel to my objective, but a much bigger issue was level scaling. If you don't take the effort to play around in Borderlands 4's fringes, you'll find yourself slowly but steadily out-leveled by the overworld's enemies. Wired Rope says, you earned a Borderlands 4 Ripper badge. Chat on your favorite channel to show it off. No, that's not it. There's a badge they're doing tomorrow that is like a metallic vault symbol that you get for gifting members, and it starts tomorrow. We should have a pretty crazy day tomorrow. We'll just say that. Meanwhile, raids take place in separate instances that are scaled precisely to your level. Oh yeah, what I was going to say about that. If you're going to fall behind on leveling in a Borderlands because you're just like straight up ignoring side missions and you're only running through the main story and you're not doing anything else, I'm not going to tell you that you're playing wrong, but you're kind of playing wrong. Do you know what I'm saying? I can't imagine being like, yay, we've been waiting all this time for Borderlands. I'm so excited to play Borderlands 4. And then you just beeline through the story. You don't do side quests and stuff. That seems like a very, very strange way to play the game. So I would say that criticism's pretty weak, because if the only way that criticism lands is because you were skipping content and just straight lining a Borderlands, I would say that the issue's not with the game, it's how you played the game. I understand somebody being like, I don't think side quests should be required. I could understand somebody saying that, but again, what are they there for? Why would you buy a brand new game like this and literally scream through it and not do side quests? Like, I understand not doing side quests once you roll the game over into like Ultimate Vault Hunter mode, but at that point, you're probably grinding for particular things, or you're doing like the challenges, like the wild card thing or legendary farming. And when you're doing that, you're going to be leveling just from killing enemies. You're not going to, necessarily need to be going off and running side quests. I'm going to pause the thing that nobody likes over here on YouTube. Do me a favor and hit that like button if you haven't already. And then Raijin is going to gift a sub to Mediocre and is going to get us one closer to the milestone. We're now 2 away. Thank you so much. We're at 348. Whoever hits it gets it. Whoever makes this hit 350 gets the gifted. Thank you so much, Raijin. Yeah, no preload on Steam. I just checked. And no, Borderlands 4 is not pro enhanced. Raids take place in separate instances that are scaled precisely to your level. This creates a lot of dissonance during the main quest line. You'll fire thousands of bullets fighting through what should be grunt synths, your own shields wiped out by gentle breeze, only to reach the raid's entrance, step inside, and go back to feeling like a bullet-spitting powerhouse. These harder fights aren't particularly fun due to higher-level foes serving as egregiously exaggerated bullet sponges, and a lot of these issues would be alleviated with a suggested level for main quests. Instead, they have vague difficulty ratings. Again, I don't know. If you're not doing any of the side content, I kind of would expect this to happen. And I don't know. We got 30 seconds of the hype train on purple. If you guys are going to make a run for it, ouch, now is the time. And a single comes in from Ranger, and a single comes in from Stone Spire, and another one comes in from Ranger. We got 3 gifted members in a row over here. That last one's an Agents of Chaos. We are now at 351. Thank you so much. It's 52-14. Purple. You guys are going to need to put it into high gear. I'm also checking my email. I'm supposed to be getting an early access code. They're waving them out from 8 and beyond. And that's always a great, like, the cable guy will show up between this time. Detonator gifts a member right there at the end of the hype train. Thank you so much, Detonator. It was a good effort. Winter Kill got the gifted member, and that takes us to 52-15. Thank you so much. Okay. There we go. The harder fights aren't particularly fun due to higher level foes serving an egregious bullet sponge. A lot of these issues would be alleviated with suggested main levels. Yeah. Again, I understand somebody saying, like, I wish you would tell me what level these missions were at. I think that's actually fair criticism. I think that's fair criticism to say it's not clear what level I should be. That's actually fair. But again, if you're completely skipping all of the side quest content and you're falling behind the levels of the enemies, I mean, it should be pretty clear once you go to a mission, and if you're like a level 10 and you're fighting level 13 and 14 enemies, it's pretty clear you need to go do something else. Generally, games do that. I don't think that's a problem. I think that's a better problem to have as a player than the problem that we've had in Borderlands up to now, which is that if you do some side quests, you end up over-leveled, and then everything that they drop is beneath you, and that's not very exciting. When you're on top, you're on top. Every millisecond of a good scrap bursts with texture. Enemy variety carries a lot of the excitements. These are so overkill, they throw out the rules not only in how shooters should work, but how firearms function. Almost every gun has a random alternate firing mode, which can range from being able to use 2 ammo types to an underbarrel knife launcher. My all-time favorite gun remains a fairly modest Jacobs semi-automatic assault rifle, except it can also fire a barrage of lock-on missiles, with the runner-up being a corrosive pistol that fires explosive bullets, and with the press of a button, sticky bombs that detonate upon reloading. While you can likely already appreciate how fun these sound, they still pale imitation for what's actually using them. Charging into a camp of rippers and bandits who rip their bolts out and shooting insanity to be down. Okay, and systematically blowing them. Okay, they're just going into fluff here. The addition of grappling hook gives Bulletstorm vibes. We've had other things praising the grappling hook. While grappling only feels half explored, the less flashy additions of double jump and glide pack a far more fun to play with and allow you to really push flanking maneuvers and sneaky vantage points to get away with. Alex Battaglia of Digital Foundry says Borderlands 4 reviews and impressions are now out. I do not have access to the PC version for testing pre-launch, so do not expect any coverage of the game in the immediate future, as it takes a good few days to cover PC versions. If it has stutters like UE5 games do, I cannot verify at the moment. Yeah, they didn't send Eurogamer any copies, so yeah, Alex wouldn't get any. Hang on, I just got disconnected from the stage. All right, I'm back. Let's see here. What else does he say? He's got three things here. As I do not have access, when I get a hold of it, imagine I will report only on the bare necessities. Does it stutter? How does it stutter? Are the settings okay? That would be about it, really. Dedicating a lot of time to it is taking production time from elsewhere. This is an issue with Digital Foundry PC coverage. If we do not get PC versions early, then we are late to the party with our coverage, which is necessarily in depth. Being late, less people watch it, and the incentive for coverage dwindles. Not a great place to be in as a technical reviewer. trying to be thorough. I mean, the issue here is always going to be, can they get you an early copy on PC that's worthy of testing? Like, that's, I think, one of the major issues. Right? They're independent now. Well, yeah, I'm sorry. Eurogamer didn't get one. PC Gamer didn't get one. Whatever. Maybe they're getting lumped in with Eurogamer. Or again, maybe they were like, listen, we don't have a version that we want chopped up like that right now. If your version that you're sending out for reviews has problems that you know are there, you're planning on addressing those problems in a day one patch, handing a version of that game to Digital Foundry is incredibly counterproductive. I love Digital Foundry. I really appreciate their breakdowns, but this is always going to be a dilemma for a company sending out review copies. If you send Digital Foundry a copy of your game, 3 weeks before the game comes out, and you send them a version that has a bunch of issues, they're going to make videos highlighting those issues. Oh, I missed it. Oh, Nova with a member plus says, love these days with review roundups and new game release excitement. Nice to have a place to hang out and share in the fun. Thank you so much. I missed that. I was looking in the Discord at that post, and that takes the member count to 353. Thank you so much. Yeah. So the fact that every single one of these reviews is PC, 63 reviews at an 84, I don't think there's any major problem. This is all PC, by the way. They didn't send any console review access. So Digital Foundry not getting access to the game, I would say, oh, wow, that's really concerning if this was sitting in like a 70 or something. I feel like if they were major performance issues, these guys would be highlighting it. Now, we ran into this with Jedi Survivor, and they never really mentioned it. I don't think Borderlands is the type of game to get a pass if you're dealing with performance issues. Like, I feel like Jedi Survivor got a pass because it's Disney, because it's Star Wars. They'll kind of look the other way. As a reminder, guys, if you're watching on YouTube, take a quick second and hit that thumbs up button. Hit that like button like it insulted you. I'm hyped for this game. I got my Discord buzzing about a game for the first time in a while since most fell off Destiny. Yeah, that wouldn't be surprising at all if a lot of Destiny folks are looking, to clamor to this one. Yeah, and thanks for the strong turnout on Purple as well. We had a huge turnout yesterday and another strong turnout today. Thank you, guys. Make sure you guys are doing all the things. You'd be surprised seeing a lot of people saying that they'd be happy hitting 60 and defending frame gen the solution. Well, Eric's Gaming said in a comment on his video about this, he acknowledged that frame gen felt terrible in games like Monster Hunter Wilds. I admittedly said it was terrible in Black Myth Wukong on console. It adds all this input latency. He said that frame gen was fine. He's like, he didn't really notice it. So obviously that's not the way frame gen is supposed to be used. So like double your frames from 30 to 40 to 60 to 70. But at least he was saying, like, listen, it's not bad. It's not doing what you would expect it to do like it did in these other games. So, no console reviews means no console performance analysis as well. Major skip until that stuff is out. Yeah, the lack of console, again, I'm hoping it's because they just did not have a day one patch ready and they didn't want to have a bunch of reviews that focused on performance issues. That would be my hope. The little we saw on console, I thought looked totally fine. This is where Borderlands 4 gets difficulty right in breathless boss encounters and shootouts where you're generally put on your back foot. Raids themselves are broadly all death corridors. Their bosses require better reaction speeds and more awareness of positioning than the series' past entries, which tend to wait until you've rolled credits on the story for the claws to come out. Even on normal difficulty, there are times when you'll have a second or two to dash away from an area of effect attack that downs you near immediately. And while their patterns aren't too challenging to learn, there are a handful of fights that you should expect do-overs for. Let's see. So we're talking about Timekeeper is a safe antagonist, which is an improvement upon Borderlands 3. Due to limited interactions with the Timekeeper, his projected gravitas and seemingly all-powerful control over Kairos rings hollow. He's too distant to seem dangerous, and his three lieutenants who spend most of the game hunting down, all have more personality. Without the magnetism, Borderlands 4 story is shapeless and forgettable. So this is in line with the other review that we read. We read a review that said that the story was pretty bland. So Xbox Store does say 60. There was a French guy and a German guy that were both streaming the game yesterday on console. One was Xbox, one was PS4, and they said performance was totally fine. I think the lack of the FOV slider is the biggest worry, because that tends to make it just feel slow. It makes moving around feel slow. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I know we're closer to my normal start time now. We've been doing a Borderlands 4 review roundup. If you are interested in Borderlands 4 gameplay, I will be diving in as soon as it's humanly possible. I am supposed to be getting a code at some time today to play on my PS5. I've got my PS5 in here and ready to go, plugged into the fiber. And then I continue to reload Steam. I bought the game on Steam so that I could play it as soon as possible. But there does not seem to be a preload on Steam, which is a little strange. This is literally the day that I'm supposed to be able to play it, and it's sitting here at 9:40, roughly 2 hours before it's playable, and I cannot install it. So major bummer that, you know, we once again have a game on its launch date not doing something to aid the players on the install. I don't understand why we continue to do this. Yeah, there is no FOV on consoles, yes. Now, there could be after the day one patch, but there was no FOV on consoles with the guy that was playing it before street date, so Why do you think there are no console reviews if it's fine? Again, I don't think it's that the console is fine in spite of the fact that there's no console reviews. I just, from what we've seen, I said it looked fine. I didn't say that it is fine. That's not what I said. I said from everything we saw, I thought console looked fine, and then there was a guy playing on PS5 yesterday and a guy playing on Xbox yesterday, and they said it was fine. Now, again, you have to remember, if they sent people this game 3 weeks to 4 weeks ago, whatever version they had available at the time, maybe they weren't confident in sending that version to people. And since then, maybe they've got it to a better place, and that's why, you know, those guys playing yesterday were having a perfectly fine time. I don't know. Tone-wise, there's also frustrating lack of sincerity. When Borderlands 4 commits to well-crafted gags or genuine punchlines, it creates some very funny moments. Yes, I laughed at buff resistance leader Rush searching for his just a hungry boy in a hungry world apron, and chortled when an upcoming boss, who'd be salivating over the imminent pain he was about to cause, admitted all the horny stuff was just a bit, and agreed to tell me everything. Less funny is the constant noise of Borderlands, an endless stream of saccharine sarcasm. What the frick is this word? What is this word, boys? Primarily used as an adjective to describe something excessively sweet and sentimental. Okay. Sweet sentimental sarcasm from characters who feel the need to comment on every minute minute action. PK Sidon, thank you so much for using your Prime sub over here on Purple. I appreciate that so much. Inching us ever closer to that. The next milestone is 375. We're now 21 away. Imagine not knowing what saccharine means. Yeah, I was like, oh, what the heck? What are your thoughts on the Nintendo lawsuit considering summoning? It's not really prevalent to today. My Cliff's Notes is I can't stand the way Nintendo is treating patents in video games. I think it's stupid. I don't like them as a company. I like their IP. I like the Switch 2, but I do not like Nintendo at all. I don't like them as a company. I think the way they treat these sorts of situations is terrible. The Vault Hunter I played, Vex, is terminally quippy, edgy, sarky, maybe that's meant to be snarky, unable to offer any depth beyond, well, that just happens, chirps. At times it even robs grander moments of their stature with quirky and out-of-place one-liners, often deflating the tensions from big standoffs. Yeah, but this is exactly what happens in Borderlands 2, and a single gifted comes in from Stonespire. I know what he's doing. Somebody help this man out. He wants a 20 bomb to get us to 375. That is the next milestone, and don't let Joker Quinn ruin it. Do not. No, you're fine. You're fine, Louie. I just don't want to go off into that tangent. The way that they listen to chats and live streams now, you can't jump to other subjects for very long. It can really hurt us. So we got to stay on Borderlands 4. We're reading right now a Borderlands 4 review from GamesRadar. We will be diving in to Borderlands 4 gameplay today at some point. I'm continuing to check my email for the code that I'm supposed to be getting, and I'm continuing to open up Steam to see if I can get Borderlands 4 to pre-install. Well, you guys were too slow, and you let Joker Quinn ruin it. He's the ruiner. That's what he does now. He's the ruiner. He ruined it. Let me add him to the total here. The reviews are fine. They're just all PC only. Right? Alex also gifts one and says denied. So we have Alex and Joker Quinn both setting their sights on not allowing 20 bomb dunkers to come in. This is unbelievable. This aggression will not stand, man. You guys are being absolutely antagonistic to Stone Spire's efforts. This is 2 hours on Steam. Yeah, but why can't I preload it? Anyway. Yeah, but listen. This right here, like quippy, snarky stuff during tense moments, this is literally all throughout Borderlands 2. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't ever remember playing as like Salvador and not having him say something stupid after something fairly serious. You know? I don't know. I don't remember there being like particularly poignant moments in Borderlands 2 where they were like, oh man, this is really serious. Let's all be serious right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think this is a weird criticism. That sounds like it's on brand for me. I don't know. They're not doing themselves any favors with this launch thus far. What launch are you speaking of? The lack of preload on Steam, I was told, is actually pretty common, which is unfortunate, but I find this approach interesting because while the Timekeeper shows the dangers of Borderlands becoming too sterile, Vex and similarly positioned characters prove that the series is overdue a growth spurt. While the quirky approach worked in Borderlands 2, that was, 13 years ago, I'd love to see more confidence from Borderlands 4, a willingness to unself-consciously take itself lightly, a la Tales from Borderlands. Oh, like take itself more seriously, rather than constantly letting us know that it's in on the joke. I don't think it's fair to be like, well, Borderlands was 13 years ago, so it's time to outgrow the snark and the goofiness. From what they said, it was going to be a more grounded story. It wasn't going to be as silly and as joke humor centric as Borderlands 3. It sounds like they stayed true to their roots though, and didn't suddenly become like a super serious, game with a super serious perspective. I mean, it's Borderlands after all. So, what time is it for me? It is almost 10 o'clock in the morning. So, that's pretty common for major games. I'll tell you this. I don't think, unless the game is an utter disaster on console, I don't think this game's in any danger of having problems with its launch and with its commercial success. Most people are looking to play tomorrow. The average consumer is thinking about, the Borderlands 4 release date's tomorrow in many people's minds. Like the vast amount of the public and the people that had it as a top-selling game on the pre-orders on PlayStation as well as Steam. Like I don't necessarily know if the lack of, did it hurt Silksong? I mean, Silksong broke every dadgum storefront it was in, and there was no pre-install either. I'd love to see more confidence from Borderlands 4. Oh, I already read that. This brings us back to the crux of this review, though. How much does all this matter? In the 29 hours I've sunk into Borderlands 4, it has doubtless been the best shooter I played in 2025, almost in spite of itself. Its cartoonish violence, a constant source of excitement. Even now, the thought of turning a Ripper into bloody chunks with an exploding assault rifle makes me itch to pick the controller back up. Does this mean the rest of it can be naff? For me, yes. But with that comes a sense of missed opportunity. Every time Gearbox made me laugh or grin, I would catch myself wishing for more of that authenticity. Instead, Borderlands 4 gives us cotton candy, undeniably delicious, but far less substantial than its volume would have you believe. I think this review makes me feel like I'm going to love this game. Like, I know everybody's different. Everybody's different. But I do not play Borderlands for, like, a substantive story, or like some deep, robust character development. It's got an 84 on Metacritic currently and an 84 on OpenCritic. So it looks like the score is settling on an 84. if you guys are enjoying the coverage, you guys did this really, really well yesterday. We were hitting that like button like crazy. Let's make sure and do that right now. We're about an hour into the broadcast. Let's get 200 likes. We should be able to play the game within a couple hours here. That is the hope, that we'll be able to jump into some Borderlands 4 gameplay within the hour or so. Borderlands had its serious game with Tales from the Borderlands, and even that wasn't that serious. Well, listen, if they were putting their energies into the writing and the characters and the humor, I'd be like, okay, cool, I'm glad that you guys did that. It sounds like they spent most of their energies working on the guns, the loot, the combat, the shooting. That matters way more to me. Does that make sense? 84 is definitely solid, but there's not enough information out there for consumers to make informed decisions. No console reviews has me worried. We will know very shortly if performance is an issue on console. Listen, up to now, if games were running fine on console, they'd go over to PC and have all these issues, right? I don't know if we've seen very many games this year that have run great on PC and then really bad on console. Now, I will say Black Myth Wukong gives me pause, but those guys did not have experience making games for console. Borderlands, Gearbox, they do. So, I don't know. That calms some of my concerns here that we're going to have a bunch of problems day one on console. So, and you guys know me, I'm extremely sensitive to performance issues in games. So, if this game's got performance issues, stutters, whatever, y'all know I'm going to be on this game's head about it. I'm going to be pretty ticked. So, the Borderlands 4 review here from Game Informer, they gave it a good score. Following Borderlands 3, I had a hard question to ask. Has one of my favorite series passed me by? The 2019 release made me realize that the Borderlands game I truly enjoyed, outside of Telltale's excellent Tales from the Borderlands, was Borderlands 2 in 2012. I initially approached Borderlands 4 with skepticism for that reason. However, Gearbox evidently agreed with my criticisms, as Borderlands 4 introduces and recalibrates myriad elements. Wouldn't it be a myriad of elements? Anyways, to deliver what could very well be my new favorite in the series. So this again is a tone that we're noticing. It does seem that people that were apprehensive, people that were worried, longtime fans, they have had a good time with the game. That all sounds great. If there are performance issues, that's obviously a concern, and hopefully those things get patched. But it sounds to me like they made a great Borderlands, and that the people that were worried about that and the people that were concerned about that are pleased with the results. For me, that's ultimately what matters, and if there are performance issues, I'll be pretty critical of that. I'm kind of tired of games coming out before they're ready, but at the core of it, at least, they made a good Borderlands. And then, with time, hopefully those issues get patched if there are major glaring issues. Let's see here. Gunfights are chaotic and as fun as ever. World of Kairos, da-da-da. The combat, the timekeeper, da-da-da. Every character has access to new traversal mechanics. The improved movement mechanics add a ton to each combat encounter, and I genuinely think it would be difficult to go back to older Borderlands games where you don't have these moves at your disposal. However, having the same button perform dodge, ground pound, and crouch caused me more than a few upsetting deaths. That's not what I want to see about dodge. So you have the same button for dodge, ground pound, and crouch. I'm assuming that what's ended up happening here is for ground pound, you hit it while you're in the air without hitting a direction. That's just what I'm going to assume. And then when you're on the ground, it causes you to crouch. These traversal elements come in handy as you're making your way through the largest world in the franchise history. Kairos, which is fast to explore thanks to summonable Digi-Runner vehicle, is full of fun diversions like safe houses, world bosses, and compelling side missions. You can also discover vaults, which house waived they house wave-based combat punctuated by intense boss battles, but it's disappointing to have some of the most fun content hidden behind a cryptic hot-cold meter that doesn't work well with so many layers in the world. You can remap on PC, at least this is true. Guys, we almost have 200 likes. Quit edging the likes, all right? You ornery people. Quit it. Quit edging them, all right? Roll the likes over to 200. You orneries. Through the most rewarding moments of my playthrough came during exploration, although the open world can be laborious, as I sometimes struggle to find the best route to my destination. Thankfully, the new Echo 4 robot companion can help navigate to your waypoint, but its guidance can be hit or miss. Borderlands 4 generally scales with your level the entire game, which makes the steep level spike in the final stretch jarring and frustrating. The skyrocketing difficulty deflated the momentum I had going into the final act, but the story as a whole is much more even than prior entries. Borderlands 4 better balances the comedic elements and offers more memorable gags, characters, and set-piece moments. Okay, here's what's interesting. This is the first we've seen somebody say there's a steep level spike in the final stretch. I wonder if this has anything to do with what the other person said about skipping side quests and you're going to fall behind in your leveling. Is this somehow related? I guess I would ask, because my thought would be this is either a pretty big oversight from the devs, or you started beelining. You were like, oh, I'm getting close to the end, and you started beelining, and maybe you skipped a bunch of open world stuff, or maybe you skipped a bunch of side quests. I don't know. That's very uncharacteristic of Borderlands, though, to suddenly be like, oh, there's a steep level spike in the final stretch. It's like all of a sudden everything's over your level. Generally speaking, every Borderlands I have ever played, by the time you get to the final stretch, you're over leveled. You're higher than everything. So I'm wondering if we're dealing with a bit of journalism play, where they play in a way that ends up making the game, name the background song. This is one of my own. This is Tracking Signals, and we don't have these available yet on YouTube. We will eventually. So I've made all the synthwave that we use here. I've just used AI to make it, because I got so tired of dealing with copyright claims and other people's music. It was tiring. So I just made a bunch of music and stored it on my hard drive, and eventually we'll have it on YouTube. I have a music channel with a bunch of songs where I wrote the lyrics. Like, a lot of it's about what happened to me in 2020. If you guys want to check it out, you can use the !music command in chat. Eventually the synthwave will be over there. My kiddos also have some songs on this playlist. Thank you for the super chat, by the way, Claude. Sorry I don't have a way for you to access the music just yet. 48 months from Detonator rolls the member count up to 358. Thank you so much for doing that. But yeah, I do wonder if what we're reading here is somebody who started beelining and weren't doing side quests or something. So I don't know. That's what it seems like to me. But I'll have to play the game, and I'll have to give my own assessment if that's something that is happening. The worst thing I can say about Borderlands 4 is that some things just go on for too long. Some fights are too prolonged, some missions feature too many chaining objectives, and some bosses have too much health. That we have heard this, that some of the bosses are a bit bullet spongy. When those bullet sponge bosses have multiple forms, they become exercises in tedium and frustration rather than the adrenaline-fueled encounters they're designed to be. But when the game is this much fun to play, that's only a minor annoyance, and is often alleviated through the series' excellent co-op, which is even better in this entry thanks to the easy-to-join sessions, enhanced fast travel, and replayable boss encounters. However, by the time I reached the final boss, it was evident that some parts of the game are not appropriately tuned for single-player action. They said if you finish the main story, you're at level 30 to 35, but the level goes up to 50. After 35, it's up to you to grind. Right, and this person seems to be indicating that they got near the end of the game and they were lower level than needed. So like they were going into missions, quests, areas, boss fights, what have you, and they said that there was a steep level spike, as in like the game spiked above them. Now, again, we don't know how they played. There was somebody that said in another review that if you skip side missions, you end up under-leveled. So, given how much attention they've given Borderlands 4, I think it's unlikely they would have rushed it. It's hard to know because why weren't you doing all the side missions? That sounds like at some level you were rushing, right? Like, if they're not doing all the side content, if they're not doing all the side missions, you know, it sounds like they were rushing to some extent because they weren't doing the side stuff. I don't know. Side missions should not be part of leveling grind. That should be optional. I don't know if I agree with that. I really don't. I don't know if you should be coming and playing a Borderlands game and basically, like, ignoring all side content. I feel like in Borderlands 1 and 2, the side content was so interwoven into what you were doing. Like, unless in this, it's very, very truncated and separated and it doesn't feel good. Like, you're just leaving main areas to go off on rabbit trails and wild goose chases. I'll obviously have to play it myself and judge, but I don't know. Making side content literally completely and totally optional, and you can just straight line the game. I've never really felt like games like this should do that. Side content's there for a reason. It's not DLC, it's side content. Yeah, like, it has to function for some reason. Like, it has to be there for something. I don't know. They also reward good weapons. Yeah, like, I think it's really weird to come to a game after all this time and wishing that you could skip the side content. I don't understand that at all. They literally don't even make you replay the story more than once. After you beat the story once, you can just create new characters at 30. Why would you not just play through the game and do all the stuff that first time through, and then after that, you never have to do it again? Like, I don't know. I think playing the game in a very straight-lined way and then turning around and being critical and being like, well, I didn't level fast enough. It's like, okay, is that a fair criticism when you basically skip stuff that can level you? I don't know. Though many of the series' core elements remain intact, Gearbox has refined and reconfigured them in such ways that Borderlands 4 rises beyond anything the series has accomplished to this point, making for a chaotic looter-shooter worthy of the series' sterling early 2010s reputation. It's simultaneously a poster child for excess and restraint, which sounds paradoxical, but for a series named for existing on the border of seemingly opposed concepts, it feels right at home. Y'all complain about doing side content and then say that the base game didn't have enough content, or complain about charging for additional content. That's what I'm saying. They did the main story super fast for the review. How do you know that? Did they say that somewhere here? Trophy hunting? I'm not advocating for platinuming a game, trophy hunting, or checking every nook and cranny of a game. I'm saying waiting this long for Borderlands to come out and then wanting to play the game in a super straight-lined, beeline fashion, and then being like, yeah, I should be able to level adequately playing that way. I'm like, I don't understand. That seems very much uncharacteristic of a game like this. This is not in my language. Let's see here. Hooked Gamers gave it a really good score. Let's take a look at what they said here. The lowest score we could find was a 70. So, this is a middle ground between ignoring side content and platinum. It's where most people live. Yeah, like, completely ignoring side content does feel a bit strange. You know, it seems a bit strange. Your first time in the game, I guess my question would be, why are you doing that? Especially considering they made it very easy to make a new character where you don't have to replay the story. You can just get to the end game. You're like, yep, here's your level 30 character. Have at it. You know what I mean? Yeah, generally it sounds like people have really, really liked the game. It has a very solid score, an 84 on basically both Metacritic and OpenCritic. The consensus seems to be that, like, the story and the characters aren't particularly great, but the gunplay and the gameplay is. Which, ultimately, in 2 weeks, that's going to matter more. Like, if we're honest, right? Excuse me. If we're honest about a game like this, you know, in 2 weeks, primarily what people are going to care about is that the gameplay. You know, gameplay and the gunplay. That's what people are going to care about in a couple of weeks. I don't think anybody's going to be looking back and saying, you know, man, I would have given that game a whole lot more time if they would have, you know, had a better character build and arc and story and things of that nature, if that makes sense. So, the planet, the heroes. Here we go, progression. Let's see what this guy's saying about progression. Progression in Borderlands 4 feels natural and rewarding. As you advance through the main story, enemies improve alongside you, ensuring a consistent challenge. For those more difficult areas, taking on some of the side quests is a great way to gain further experience and unlock new skills, giving you a crucial edge. In the heat of battle, survival is key. Respawning costs a significant portion of your cash reserve, so thankfully, shields and health packs dropped by fallen foes can help keep you in the fight. Borderlands 4 also introduces the Rep Kit, a personal health booster with a cooldown, which can be a lifesaver in a tough spot. And of course, the beloved second wind mechanic returns, allowing you to continue the fight for a brief period after going down. If you defeat an enemy during this time, you're reincarnated to continue the battle. This mechanic becomes particularly important during boss fights. Bosses naturally feature heavily in Borderlands 4. There are area bosses that can be a test of endurance, but the true challenges lie in the story bosses. These encounters require players to study the patterns and use all their available weaponry and skills in a strategic way. While these battles can be intense, the bosses will often have a host of underlings that feel like annoying mosquitoes buzzing around. But I found them to be crucial. They are the perfect targets for when you need a second wind. Just like in previous installments, once these titans finally succumb to your onslaught, they drop some truly wonderful loot, making all the effort worthwhile. Comparing sizes. For those of us with the hoarding problem, the game's limited backpack space will have you constantly inspecting weapons, working out which to keep and which to discard. The journey from boss battle to the nearest vending machine can feel like a tense negotiation with yourself as you weigh the pros and cons of each new shiny toy. But it's a core part of the Borderlands experience, and one that is thankfully accompanied by the game's excellent humor. The jokes feel less forced and less juvenile than in previous titles, resulting in a more natural and genuinely funny tone. The superb voice acting contributes to this, with each of the main characters having humorous quotes when they dispose of an enemy, or even when you take too long to sell items at a vending machine. And while the neurotic and lovable Claptrap has a more minor role this time around, his presence is a welcome tone. I'm watching gameplay and there's definitely stutters, but it's hard to tell because YouTube's been acting stupid. If they're playing on PC, it's a known issue. Unfortunately, it's an epic Unreal 5 engine issue that'll have to be fixed with time. It's like a very, very common issue with UE5 games. Extremely common. I'm going to delay and pause those things that nobody likes. Guys, if you appreciate me doing that, do me a favor and hit that like button about as fast as you can. Finally, while playing alone, it's an undeniably great experience. Playing with a friend makes Borderlands 4 even more enjoyable. The multiplayer experience is seamless. Cash is shared across the team, while other loot is instant, so each member can choose what they want without having to race each other. If you're working well as a team, you'll be able to help revive each other when you inevitably fall. On a technical note, I did find occasional stutters when moving into new combat zones, particularly in multiplayer, but considering there are no loading zones whatsoever, this is a minor technical hiccup in what is otherwise a polished and engaging experience. The ever-present Echo 4, your personal robot helper, is on hand to guide you to your destination and will be the one to respawn you after an untimely end. So it does seem like maybe some of those hitches in the open world are from going from one instance to the next, like if they've got the map like on a grid. So that could be what's going on. And maybe for whatever reason, multiplayer triggers it more often because of the connections having to resolve where each player is or something. Overall, Borderlands 4 is a masterful continuation of the series. It honors its roots while daring to venture into new territory, both geographically and mechanically. The diverse and compelling new world of Kairos, combined with the most extensive skill trees and a refined sense of humor, makes this a must-play for both longtime fans and newcomers to the franchise. It's the same Borderlands you love, but bigger, bolder, and more beautiful than ever before. So they gave it a 9.5. And they say pros, wonderful traversal mechanics, fun multiplayer, great boss battles, cons, slight stutters on entering new combat zones. Like, this sounds similar to kind of like what happens in Destiny, because you're dealing with peer-to-peer environments. So we have read the best scores, we have read the weakest scores. Let's see if there's anything lower than a 70 now. Let's see. I'm scrolling. I am scrolling. Okay, come on. Okay, we finally made it to the bottom. Okay, yeah, so 70 does seem to be the weakest. MGG, a French outfit looks like here. Gameblog, GameSpot, IGN, German IGN, Deutschland. They all, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So currently 5 70s. Everything else is either a 75 or higher. A good chunk of them are actually 80 or higher. There's actually only 175. So a lot of 80s in here. I don't think there's very many in the mid 80s. There's, so starting here, so 83, 85, 85, 85, 85. Hang on. Oh, there's a lot more 85s than earlier. I felt like we skipped right through 85s to 80s earlier. And then look, now we're in the 90s. A lot of 90s. Oops. And then now we're at the top. So I would say this looks very, very promising. We're hoping that console doesn't have any major issues because they did not send console reviews. I'm sitting here waiting for a console code. They said they would start rolling those out starting at 8 o'clock this morning. And I'm also continuing to close and reopen Steam. Steam, the game will be playable in about 2 hours. Sadly, it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to try to install the game on Steam until we get to that point. So it seems like the biggest gripe is it's hard to tell what level you're supposed to be for where you are. Yeah, that I get that. I do. I would say the reason that that's not causing me any alarm is it sounds like they went in the opposite direction of what irritated me with the previous Borderlands. Borderlands 2 and 3 especially, it was just like if you took the time to do side quests, you ended up over-leveled, and then everything that dropped was like inconsequential. It sounds like this is going in the other direction where it's like it's trying to stay on an even keel with you throughout the game. And the only way you're going to like fall behind is if you're not doing any side missions. What would be a final review number? I don't understand your question. It has an 84 on Metacritic and OpenCritic. I don't know what number you're asking about. The question doesn't make any sense. Isn't it UE5 with mandatory ray tracing? I believe the lighting system is a point of criticism that we didn't really hear anybody take issue with in any of these reviews. These are all PC reviews, by the way. we can take a look at the poll and see where you guys landed. If you haven't taken the poll yet on YouTube, we've got one here. Borderlands 4 characters, who are you starting with? Rafa and Vex running away with it, and maybe that's because they're the first two on the poll. I don't know, but Harlow and Eamon are not getting nearly as much attention. It's not surprising to see, a Siren leading, but Rafa is this right here at the top. This is going to be the pair that I go with when Madam and I play. I think I'm going to go with Harlow for my solo character, though. Well, maybe I'll go with Vex for my solo character because she has a lot of things that can draw aggro. So if I play as Vex solo, I'll play as Rafa when I play with Madam. So be sure to get in there and take that poll. We got people saying pass. I have other games to play. I think I'll pass. Eula changed earlier this week, killed my interest. Seeing how bad the game is performing on systems like mine has me almost glad the Eula made me lose interest. What the Eula are they talking about? Skip. I'll start with not playing the game. I really question some of you. I really do. I do. You take the time to comment on a poll just to be negative. Okay. I don't think I take polls on games I'm not interested in. I don't think I comment on games I'm not interested in. It's fine. You're allowed to skip a game and not want to play a game. It's interesting. Every comment is negative. All right. Going out of your way to say you don't care. Yeah, okay. Usually there's one or two people doing that on a poll. They're like, where's the option to say not interested? I'm like, okay, well, I can only do 4. I can only do 4. I got Chronos to focus on. No, here's the thing. I'm totally understanding of people right now that are like, brother, I don't have time for Borderlands gameplay. I totally get it. I 100% understand somebody being like, yeah, man, I don't have time for Borderlands 4 right now. And the reasoning makes perfectly good sense. There are so many games that came out. Chronos came out. Silksong came out. There was Metal Eden came out. What was the other one? There was a handful of games that came out just this week, and it's like I totally get it. I'm not even remotely trying to act like there's not a massive amount of reasons to hold off. But if you're looking for a Borderlands 4 review, we've done our Borderlands 4 review roundup, and the game has landed with an 84 on Metacritic and an 84 on OpenCritic. So not a bad score at all. It's landing in between Borderlands 3 and 2, which is kind of where I thought it would land. I was hoping for a slightly stronger score. Also hoping for some of those reviews to land on console. These are all PC reviews, which is interesting because that's where it seemed like the crux of the concern was coming from, was, how's it going to run on PC, given some of what people had been saying. None of the reviews seem to be having any major issues with performance. Sorry, friends of ours sent us some pictures. We're in different time zones, so I've got to reply now, or they won't get my reply. I mean, they will, but they won't get it till later in the day. There are different outlets saying 80, 90. What would be a single review number? Yeah, Perfect Image. I know sometimes we have a bit of a language barrier, but again, your question doesn't make any sense. That's literally what this is. This is an aggregate of all those scores. That's what the 84 is, homie. I'm not really sure what you're asking. It's an 84. It's an 84 on OpenCritic. It's an 84 on Metacritic. I feel like I'm answering your question. For what it's worth, Lono, IGN's review was for console. IGN has a review for console. All right, hang on one second. I'm confused. They tweeted their review as well. Is there written review console? Let us see here. Where's their review? Oh, here it is. They gave it an 8. Borderlands 4 review. This open world sequel gives the series a massive kick in the pants that it needed, even though it's got a lot more rough borders. Okay, let me scroll to the bottom here. Reviewed on PC. Baru is saying don't update to the newest drivers for Borderlands 4. It causes crashes. Never update gang gets another W. Oh, you're saying the IGN video is for... Are you sure? Borderlands 4 video review. Borderlands 4 reviewed by Travis Northup on PC. Also available on PS5 and the Series X. Let me go to their YouTube channel. I'm a little confused here. 9 things to do first. And here's their 22-minute review. Borderlands 4 review on IGN. Borderlands 4 reviewed by Travis Northup on PC. Also available on PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X and S. I'm not really sure how y'all got that one confused. I mean, it's right there. They could be using a controller on PC, so it shows the controller buttons. Oh, yeah, if you're going based off of controller buttons showing up, boys, come on now. Junebug, thank you so much for 29 months of subs. I greatly appreciate that. Over here on Purple, bumping the line to 359. Thank you guys so much. We had a huge day yesterday. We are currently trying to get back to 1,000 sub points on Purple, and we have 900 sub points. So we need 100 more sub points. And when we hit this goal here down in the corner, we will do a Friday night stream. My wife and I will be playing Borderlands. PC comes out tomorrow. PC comes out in an hour and a half. Apparently the FOV is locked at 70 on consoles. Golly, I hope that's one of the things they update first. That's terrible. Which platform are you going to play on? Well, today we'll be playing on PC unless my code comes through. I was told I'd be getting a code for PS5. They said they were going to start rolling those out starting at 8 o'clock. It's been 2.5 hours, so I'm not really sure if they're, I wouldn't imagine an agency would have that many people they were sending codes to, but who knows? Mouse and keyboard's better for shooters, especially FPS. I mean, it's better for shooters if that's your preference. It's not objectively better because preference is going to determine if somebody even wants to do that or not. I've never changed POV for a game. That's not really a concern of mine. I mean, if you've never upped the POV in a Borderlands especially, it really, really feels good. It's objectively more precise, though. No, it is not. You are misusing that word. It's only objectively more precise in relation to the subjective skill of the player. Therefore, it is inherently subjective. It's not more precise. There are plenty of people that are more precise with a controller, and obviously aim assist is a part of the conversation, but that's literally not possible. It's not more precise. The hardware is more precise. The hardware has the capability to be more precise, yes, but that doesn't mean it's objectively more precise for people when they're playing. That's what makes it subjective. That's the whole point of what I said. Like, yeah, it has the capability of being more precise, but then it's in relation to the player. Like, At this point, I'm not going to be more precise on mouse and keyboard. I haven't played on mouse and keyboard consistently for such a long time. Now, back in the day when I played Fortnite, yeah, I was way more precise mouse and keyboard Fortnite. But now, probably not. It's in relation to, my ability to leverage it. Playing PC is objectively more precise, provided all other things equal. Yeah, which the second part of your sentence renders the first part of your sentence sort of moot. It's objectively more precise, provided all things are equal. That's not true. I was going to make fun of you on mouse and keyboard. Yeah, I am not precise on mouse and keyboard anymore. No. I am like old man casual dad gamer now, dude. Give me that controller and a comfy couch. I don't care. I do not care. What's good, Harlem? Nothing wrong with controller. That's what I'm saying. Like the whole mouse and keyboard is objectively better. It's like, again, but it's subjective to the user. So just play where you think it feels the best. Some people have access now. I am well aware. This is not my first day on this rodeo. We're waiting for our code, and if not, I'll just install it on PC and we'll play there. It's more about familiarity than what's objectively better. Yeah, I think that's well stated, really. Whatever you're the most familiar with and the most comfortable with. Pro Call of Duty players use controller. Yeah, a lot of that has to do with aim assist and familiarity, but yes. What about handheld users like Steam Deck? Yeah, I mean, a handheld is essentially a controller with a screen on it, so that's going to obviously be, but again, if somebody's wanting to play a super precise shooter, that's probably the last place they're going to play for that experience. Does that make sense? Like, you're going to get lowered performance, lower frame rate, and probably less precision in your aiming. But again, that's subjective to the player. Somebody might be more comfortable in that environment. I think that would be very rare. I think it'd be very rare for somebody to go from mouse and keyboard on their PC to a handheld PC and to be more precise with the thumbsticks. So, again, I think controller aim versus mouse and keyboard aim, I think there's just a lot of energy wasted because it really just comes down to the player. Like, you are going to be having the best experience where you're the most comfortable. So when someone's like, well, this is objectively more precise, and it's like, well, it can be, Some games implement camera relative to screen instead of the game world, meaning higher FOV equals higher input scaling. It got a little better. Lone Wolf, go. Okay, so here's a trick on Xbox to speed up downloads. You may have already done this, okay? Pop out your dashboard on the side. Go to your games. Go to your quick resume list. Remove everything from the quick resume list. And you might have to remove the last game twice. Clear every single game from your quick resume list. Then pause and restart your download if it doesn't. It should speed it up if you do that. I did that the other day because my daughter would always need to update Fortnite. You already cleared out the quick resume. Double check and make sure it didn't leave a game there. I always have to do the last game twice. Double check. Sometimes it leaves a game there. I had to do the last game twice every time I've done it. And as soon as that quick resume list is clear, her download for the Fortnite update just screams. Because I'm on fiber. I'm like, this is stupid. Why is it so slow? And then, if that doesn't work, do a pause and a restart. I had to remove it twice. Okay, now see if it's faster. And if it isn't, do a pause and a restart. Thank you for the $2 super chat. What's your thought on the Xbox handheld price? It's priced pretty much where we anticipated it being. I don't think it's priced in a way that's surprising. That's kind of what we expected from a handheld. I don't think it's surprising at all. I play console and PC. Earlier you had to do it twice, so it's empty now. Okay. Have you tried pausing it and restarting it? Quick resume definitely don't help. This was night and day. Whenever my daughter would go to update Fortnite, I would pause, restart, pause, restart, pause, restart. Eventually it would be fast and stay fast. But then, the one day, I was like, let me clear out the quick resume. And I did it, and immediately the speed skyrocketed. So, I don't know. It could have been a complete correlative thing, but it seemed like it to have an immediate effect. So waiting on the PlayStation 6 handheld. As far as we can tell, there is no PlayStation 6 handheld. It is going to be a PlayStation handheld that comes out before the PlayStation 6, designed to play PS5 games. I don't think it's designed to be a PlayStation 6 handheld. If you guys are enjoying the coverage today, we did take a look at the Borderlands review. Borderlands 4 review. 84 on Metacritic, 84 on OpenCritic. I said that backwards. This is Metacritic, this is OpenCritic. But an 84, we will be diving in to Borderlands 4 gameplay today, likely on PC. I have a sneaking suspicion that code is going to come way late in the day. I just my gut on these things. I've been in this situation before, so probably going to be coming later in the day. You mean holding multiple game states in memory slows down the performance in other areas? No way. I don't believe you. That's impossible. I'm reading that world progression isn't shared in co-op. Was that the case in previous games? I'm not sure I understand what you're saying. So if I do a mission with you, does it not give me credit for doing the mission with you? There's no way they did that with co-op. That is a glaring flaw that other games have done. That's the worst way to do co-op. So if you and I are on mission 3 together and I'm not host, do I not get credit for the mission completing? There's no way that's true. These guys have been doing co-op since BL1. They've never done it that way. Other games have done it that way and have gotten a ton of criticism. There's absolutely no way that that's true. I didn't read a single review that said that. I feel like that would have been highlighted. They did that in BL3 in the beginning. What? No, they didn't. You didn't get credit for a mission if you weren't host in BL3? Huh? And Suicide Squad do that? I have no idea. There was a game that we criticized for doing that. What game was it? Why is the Metacritic only an 84? What do you mean, why is it only an 84? Then they patched it. What the heck is going on? Oh. YouTube Studio. We covered something that was doing co-op wrong. What was it? It wasn't... I was heavily critical of this. That was Redfall. Redfall was the one that did co-op that way, and I was heavily critical of it. I don't remember that being true of Borderlands 3. Did Gotham Knights also do it that way? I remember when we learned that Redfall was doing co-op that way. I'm like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You don't get shared progression for the map fog or map objectives. Okay, that's not great, but that's not what I was worried about. If you and I go and do a mission and we kill the boss and we come back and we turn in the mission and you get credit for it, that's what matters. If the map clearing and map objectives is not synced up, that's a bummer. They can patch that later. That's not nearly as egregious as the missions themselves, because they did that in Redfall and they did that in something else. I think it was the first Dying Light. I remember playing through the first Dying Light and being like, you got to be freaking kidding me. I played for 3 hours with my friend, came back the next day, and had done nothing in the game, basically. I was like, I'm sorry, what? Like, I had all my loot. But I had done no missions. And I was like, what did you just say to me? Like, from what I've heard, I don't think it's the missions, just the side objectives on the maps, like the silos and the vaults and the map fog, but not the missions. Yeah, I could see that being an issue for them. They've never done an open world map like that, and syncing those two things might be difficult. maybe they can fix that. I don't know. Because I guess my question would be, if you're with me and I do the silo, can you also do the silo? Or like when I do the silo, does it change your world state at all? Like, can you see the map clearing in my game, and then when you go back to your game, it's not cleared at all? Is that how it works? Far Cry 5 did it too. The host got all the story progression, but the visitor had to do it all again. Yeah, but Far Cry's different. I don't think that Far Cry, that's a fair expectation. Now, I've always wanted full co-op in Far Cry. It's why my wife and I didn't play Far Cry 5 together. But Far Cry has always just been a companion to a single-player game, not like come in and actually get your own stuff. TJ Love, thank you for 35 months. Any advice on a first-time border bro? Take your time and just enjoy it. Pick up everything, look at everything, try everything. Once you have enough money to respec, if you feel like respecking, respec. Thank you so much, Escort Nick, for bumping the line as well. We are now at 361. Twitch still a little bit behind in the battle today with YouTube. It's 57-19, but there's a lot of day left. And then we will play Borderlands Friday night with my wife. If you guys can hit that goal, thank you. Welcome in, Escort Nick. Appreciate you very, very much. You created your account around the time that I got brought back to Purple, so I'm assuming you're from YouTube. If you join someone in a different area, they likely don't want the map fog to go away. It would be kind of weird to have random spots on the map showing and would ruin the flow maybe. Is there anything I should know today for new knowledge? I mean, not really. I mean, unless you are like just super in the dark about games in general, you should be just fine. There's 4 characters. The characters have multiple skill trees. The skill trees have a theme. As you level, invest in a skill tree that appeals to you and use guns that appeal to you. I will say this, generally in a Borderlands game, you want to carry different weapon types, because if you've got 3 SMGs, they're all pulling from the same ammo pool. Like, ammo pool, I should say. So you want an SMG, a shotgun, and a rifle. So if one gun runs out of ammo, you just switch. Now, I don't know what the ammo economy is like in Borderlands 4, but in previous Borderlands games, ammo could be a huge pain point in the beginning. You'd be like, in Borderlands 1, I always felt like I was constantly running out of ammo in the first couple of hours, and then it rolled over and got better. Rockets are their own special slot now. Yeah, rockets are not... they're called Ordnance, and I think it's on a refresh. I don't think Ordnance has ammo. I think Ordnance is a refresh. Like rockets and grenades are in the same thing, I believe. I asked Shroud, who's playing at co-op right now, if it's shared progression in the campaign. He said fully, but difficulty is quadrupled with 4-player co-op. Okay, got it. Came out 2 hours ago on Xbox in New Zealand. That is untrue. New Zealand can't even play right now. New Zealand can play in 1 hour and 20 minutes. Like, I checked the map. What you're saying isn't true. I mean, unless there's some kind of a glitch with the, if there's some kind of a glitch with the clock, they can play already. That's not what the map says. The map says they can play at the same time as the rest of the world. I looked it up yesterday, unless the map's wrong. They can play in New Zealand on console. But why did the map made it seem like they wouldn't be able to play yet? They did that on purpose for ammo because there was a station to upgrade the ammo pouch. This is true. I remember that. Yes, you could make your ammo capacity higher for sure. But I still remember just starving for ammo in the first couple of hours of Borderlands 1. Borderlands 4 will be deck verified. Will UE5 be problematic? I have no idea. Thank you for the $2 super chat. A lot of streamers are already in there. Seems sus. It's not sus at all. They were given early access. I'm supposedly getting a code for that any minute. But it's from an agency, and we're just going to be having to trust that they're sending them out as fast as possible. Difficulty being quadrupled in co-op seems to contradict what the devs have said. The devs have said that in co-op, each person can set their own difficulty. But maybe normal is like a 4 times harder version of normal if there's 4 people in your game. Does that make sense? It's possible that even if you are upping and lowering difficulty according to your own preferences, that 4 people is going to mess with your, like general difficulty structures. Because it's always kind of been that way. Like when there's other people in your game, it's going to be more difficult. It's going to be harder. It's going to have, elements of challenge that aren't there when you're by yourself. So, clean floor. That's right. I got a lot of grief about not using this part of the studio, so I set up a bookshelf. Now I've got to get some lights, it seems, because it's kind of hard to see Venom. It's kind of hard to see Doom Guy. I'm gonna get those like lights that you can like stick to the bottom of the shelf, and then yeah. And a gifted member from TJ Love. Thank you so much for doing that, paying it forward to others. If you guys are watching on YouTube, we have a really, really big goal. We're trying to get to 600 people at Member Plus. So do me a favor. If you've never done that before on YouTube, try it out for a month. Click join. It's $6 for Member Plus. For the price of a cup of coffee a month, you can support the channel directly and get into extra content. And we're going to be jumping into this game as soon as possible. Okay. Getting game reminders for my kiddos' soccer games. Hoping I don't have a lot of no on the RSVPs. That's always a bit of a nightmare going into the weekend. Okay, we don't. Drops claimed. Congratulations, we do have drops turned on. Speaking of coffee, yeah, I have that. I have Reforge Roast on the stand back there. I'm seeing other coffee companies now promoting and talking about low acidic coffee. Our coffee has featured balanced or low acidity for a very long time, which makes it easier on your stomach. It also makes the bitterness in the bite almost non-existent, very smooth, very drinkable. I have people with stomach issues that can actually drink my coffee, so feel free to use the coffee command or go to reforgeroast.com. And we appreciate it very, very much. Let's see here. There you go. If you guys have never gone to the website, I mean, I'll make it really easy for you. I'll show it to you here. This is a great way to support what I do, especially if you're a coffee drinker. Just go to Reforge Roast. You can grab the light and the dark roast, which is the best of both worlds. Great combo there for $28. You can grab all 3 flavors here, the triple threat, for $49. So our medium, our light, and our dark roast all in one bundle. You'll get like a little thank you note from my kiddos, a little picture that they draw. And it's like supporting a small business. You're not buying from some sponsor. You are buying from me when you do that. So I appreciate so much. We have already taken a look at the Borderlands 4 review roundup. 84 on OpenCritic, 84 on Metacritic. If you are looking for a Borderlands 4 review, seems to be landing well enough. The Borderlands 4 gameplay that I'm going to be doing will be featured on the channel shortly once we can get it installed on PC or once my code comes through for PS5. Kind of weird to release such a big game, no console review, staggered PC and console release. This is weird, right? I don't know. I mean, I wonder if some of it's 2K. They did weird stuff with Mafia: The Old Country. They did weird stuff with NBA 2K26. This could be the publisher The fact that it has an 84, I just don't think it's going to land and be like, oh, yep, this is why they hid it from us. I mean, the lack of FOV seems to be the only glaring, if you can call that glaring, seems to be the only major criticism for console. We're not hearing or seeing any other major criticisms for console performance or the console experience. So, hot take: staggered release for platforms is better because it lets them distribute server load over the launch day. Yeah, like imagine, especially a game like this, if you're trying to play co-op, I can't preload on PS5. I mean, I could preload on PS5, but it ain't going to do me any good. The code they're sending me is going to allow me to play early, so I'm waiting for that code. If I were to buy and preload the game, I can't play that until tomorrow. Today it's PC or this code they're sending me. So, did they fix the stutter? It sounds like the stuttering issue on PC is showing up when you go from one area to the next and you're playing multiplayer. So, don't get me wrong, I'm not necessarily worried about console performance. I'm obviously a little concerned. I'm not like majorly concerned, but it's like from everything we've seen, they made a great Borderlands. If we got to have a few performance issues here and there that they patch with time, I'm gonna be, unless they're egregious. Like Jedi Survivor was egregious. Like I couldn't play that game. You know, minor performances here and there. Like my wife and I played Revenge of the Savage Planet, and it, with its performance mode, it played okay. Like it played okay. It still had like stutters and not great frame rate in some spots, but we had a good time with it. PS5 preload was yesterday the 10th. Yeah, the only reason I don't want to preload the retail version is the code they're sending me comes with an embargo that lifted a couple of hours ago. So I should be able to use that code, install, and play right then and there off of the code. So we're just waiting for that. There doesn't seem to be any preload for PC, so we'll be installing it on PC regardless in an hour and 15 minutes. And that's the earliest I'll be playing unless I get a code before then. Do console reviews have a different deadline? Would make sense if they have two different... No, they didn't seemingly send console review codes. I'm not really sure why, but they did not send console review codes. Some might say, oh, that's a big cause for concern. I'm of the opinion that maybe their version control was better for PC. Maybe it's easier to update the version on PC. So they're like, hey, while you guys are reviewing it, we might push out some patches, to address some things. Maybe, 3 weeks ago, however long ago, they sent people copies of the game. Maybe they just weren't confident in the console version just yet. They're like, listen, we've got some things we want to iron out. We don't want people reviewing the game, in this state. Or it could be terrible on console. I mean, we've had people already streaming ahead of time on console. There was somebody playing on Series X. There was somebody playing on PS5. And they seemingly were having no major issues at all. So... Yo, what's good, Abe? Say you don't know what I'm doing here, but you can comment on what I'm doing here. We're just commenting about who can play. I wanted to comment about playing is the issue. What's the issue here? I'm Australian. I'm playing right now. Oh, yeah. You are now eligible to get the Forsaken Chaos Gun for Borderlands 4. To get your loot, claim your loot drop by October the 7th. Okay, so I got some kind of a loot drop on Twitch. So you guys can get those drops by watching. for Borderlands 4. To add to your Borderlands 4 gameplay. I thought you would have signed up for the creator signups to play early. I did. I did. I never heard back from them. And then I heard something a couple of days ago, like last week, and they were like, what code do you want? And I was like, PS5. And so then I emailed them and I said, hey, what's the ETA on this? Because it's like I'm sitting here not buying the game. Not because that doesn't matter to me. I'm okay to buy the game. I bought the game on PC today. I'm not worried about spending the money. It's that I don't want to buy the retail version if you're going to be sending me a code that's review access that allows me to play early. Like, then I'll wait, right? So I was just kind of politely saying, like, hey, do we have an ETA on this? And they said that they would start rolling out the codes at 8 o'clock this morning. At this point, I'm probably going to end up playing on PC unless that code shows up in the next hour. Reviews are good outside them saying the game is buggy, but that seemed to be mostly from the PC version. Randy even said this is the first day one patch that fixes most of the issues. As far as I can tell, the PC reviews that we read, nobody really zeroed in on buggy anything other than some hitches when they were going from one area to the next. Nobody really talked about it. Obviously, that means that there could be some pretty significant issues, but there's a lot of streamers playing right now, and I would think if there are issues now that you would see and be hearing about it as the game is in the wild. You know, once the game is in the wild, and I've tried to tell people this before, like, you're very, very empowered as a consumer to, like, wait and to not buy things before you have a good idea of if they're worthy of your purchase or not. What time does preload hit PC? PC is seemingly not doing preload at all, which I guess is pretty normal, although irritating. Apparently, you'll be able to install it in an hour. IGN reviewer said it was buggy, and he played the PC version, but that's IGN. Did they explain what they meant by buggy? They gave it a pretty good score, didn't they? They gave it like an 8. I will be installing it on my PC in an hour regardless. I mean, again, unless this key comes in. I've been, checking my email every couple minutes here. Like whenever you have a package coming and you keep checking out the front window. Lono, can you get yourself a capture card that will give you a good 60 FPS capture while also allowing you to play at 144? The Elgato 4KS works well. Playing on PC locked at 60 is wrong. The issue is always going to be screen tearing. So if I don't know what people do to like play at 144 and then how do they have the capture card turn that into a nice 60 FPS image? I don't know. That sounds like wizardry if anybody's doing that. Like, how are you doing that without screen tearing? VRR or lock your frame rate? Like, if I'm watching a very stable 144 image and that's going through a cap card that then's hitting OBS and only able to show you a 60 FPS image, how does that not cause issues? You don't do the frame rate sync in the cap card, you do it in the software. Yeah, we've already passed the point of me caring. Like, I don't care. I'm not doing any of that. I don't mind 60. 60 is totally fine, and then I don't have to do anything. I don't have to do any setting changes or configurations. The less I have to tinker, the more likely it is that I'm going to keep playing. As soon as I have to start tinkering, it's going to be a quick nope. I'm going to nope right the frick out if I've got to do any tinkering. I hate it. I don't want to tinker. I don't want to touch a single thing. I want to boot up a game and play. Maybe I mess with some like lighting and textures or something if I'm getting some frame rate issues. But if I have to start tinkering with the cap card and OBS and this, that, and the third, no, I'm good. I'll drop it to 60. I'm good. I don't want to do any of that. You know? I respect your peasant lack of caring, even if I hate it. I feel sad for the 5070. I mean, my PC's running a 5070 Ti, so if I'm running everything at 60, it should be able to just do pretty much anything I throw at it, I would imagine. Shouldn't be tinkering. You should just be setting on the card to 144 and leaving OBS as is. Yeah, I can go into the card and set it to do a set resolution at 144. How does OBS not experience a bunch of weird stutters and stuff? Back in the day, whenever I did that with Destiny, I played Destiny at 144. It never looked good. It never looked like clean capture to me. It always looked stuttery. It always looked stuttery and skippy. It was like, what the frick? This looks terrible. And when I dropped everything to 60, it all went away. I was getting these weird stutters and these weird hitches. And I think it was Borderlands 3, actually, where I was like, oh, I dropped it to 60 and it all went away. I just realized I can't make fun of Lono for having a 2080 anymore. I have a 2080 Ti collection. Somebody in my DMs was wanting to buy it from me, and I just don't have time to do all that. I don't have time to have somebody pay me and ship it and this, that, and the I just have zero time in the schedule for anything. Like, as soon as I started thinking about it, I was like, I can't do this. OBS renders it down to 60 automatic. Okay. You can throw it in my next coffee order. I ordered a bag of coffee and I got a 2080. What happened? Trying to connect my 2K account for the drop, but I'm getting an error. Sorry. I have no idea why that's happening. Same, I'm too lazy to ship stuff now. It's not even about like being too lazy to ship stuff. It's just like I don't have any time in the schedule. Like I'm going from one thing to the next basically every day. It's like I'm going from this to soccer to back home. You know, I'm eating my dinners at like 9 o'clock at night most nights because we've got so much stuff going on in the evenings. It's like I'm literally eating dinner on my couch at 9 at night. I've been tempted to order a 2080 Ti to see how Lono was living. I mean, the 2080 Ti for the last couple of years was basically only having to like play YouTube videos, so there was not much to test. You know? You can look up on Google, people record at 120 and it records on OBS at 60. Yeah, 120 down to 60 probably doesn't have any major issues. 144 down is where I'm confused. Is eating at 9 bad? I wouldn't say that it's bad, but I'm not eating dinner with the fam. I'm eating late at night. That's just what the schedule is right now. You know, the schedule is just wild. And if there's anything extra that needs done, I don't do it. If somebody's like, hey, can you check out this? Nope, I can't. You know, oh, can you send it to me and I'll pay you money? No, I can't do that right now. As soon as soccer spins up, the schedule gets insane. Herto with the Prime. Thank you so much for using your Prime. 41 months. And that gets us to 363. I think most of the online multiplayer bugs will be fixed with the day one patch. Lono, you are on the bench. What are you talking about? What bench? How many bags of coffee for a free 2080? Asking for a friend? No. Yeah, I don't know, if a day one patch is going to do much to address the online stuff. Usually the online stuff lingers. It's usually performance issues and bugs and stuff that they address, early on. Playing PC today, switching to PS5 tomorrow. I have no idea. They said they were going to be rolling out codes to people starting at 8 this morning. This agency, they said key distribution will begin on September 11th once the embargo is lifted. Okay. The embargo lifted 3 hours ago. So I don't know what method they're using for code distribution, but 3 hours, how many codes were y'all sending? I don't know what the holdup is. I would prefer to get that code play on my PS5. If not, I'll just be installing the game in an hour and then jumping in on PC. And 2 gifted members came in from Stonespire. He's setting up a 10-bomb dunker to 375. Guys, grant this man his wish before Joker Quinn ruins it. Somebody quickly drop a 10-bomb. I thought they told people they wouldn't be sending codes out till release. No, that's not what was communicated to me. I just read the email to you verbatim. That's what was communicated to me, was that as soon as that embargo lifts on the 11th, we're going to start sending the codes out. And I'm sitting here going, cool. That was 3 hours ago. It's a very confusing thing to be you're going to get a code. The embargo's 8 a.m. on the 11th. Do you agree to the embargo? Yeah, sure, I do. I didn't have the code before the embargo. So it's agreeing to the embargo doesn't make any sense to me. It's well, why would you? Does that make sense? If you have an embargo, what that usually means is you have access prior to the embargo. I think something happened. Somebody somewhere said pump the brakes. Maybe on the console version specifically. Maybe they didn't want anybody touching console until the day one patch was ready. And both Abe and Alex ruin it and bump the line to 367. You guys have changed, You guys used to be all about the big member bomb setups from Stonespire. You guys have changed. I don't know what changed you, but you guys just like to ruin the setups now. You've all become very cruel to poor Stonespire. Australians are playing on PS5, seems smooth. Again, it could be that day one patch. It could be. Think about it like this. If you tell me the embargo's 8 in the morning today, you give me the code 2 or 3 days ago, what do you think I'm going to do? I'm going to make a bunch of content. I'm going to record a bunch of footage. And then this morning at 8 a.m., I'm going to have videos hitting the ethos, the internet, the ethos of gaming. And I'm going to be yeah, there's this issue, there's that issue, blah, 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 blah. They probably didn't want that. Somebody probably said, hey, pump the brakes. The console version gets significantly better with the day one patch. Don't send those codes. That's more than likely, because if you're telling me people are playing right now on console with no issue, I'm yeah, the day one patch probably smoothed out all those wrinkles, and they didn't want a bunch of footage hitting the airwaves day one, not even day one. Today's the day before the official release date. Tomorrow's the official release date. So they didn't want all these videos hitting. So that would be my assumption. Because they said this to me, the initial email about me getting a code, it was a while ago. The initial email was on September the 3rd. So it was, they hit me up the middle of last week. I'm thinking, oh, I'll agree to the thing. I'll tell them the code I need. I'll get a code over the weekend or before the weekend. I'll get a code in a day or two or at the beginning of next week. I didn't hear anything. So finally, I was hey, what's the ETA on this? And they get back and they say the codes will be going out tomorrow. They said this to me yesterday. The codes will be going out on the 11th once the embargo lifts. And I'm okay, cool. And then I thought, that doesn't make any sense. Why would you tell me that there was an embargo if I'm never going to have the code prior to the embargo? That doesn't make any sense. That's very strange. My theory is they were originally planning on letting us in, playing, having content ready for today, and somebody somewhere pumped the brakes and said, no, the console version's going to get much better with the day one patch. Don't send those codes. It's why, if you look, we already did our Borderlands 4 review Roundup 8484. Those are all PC. Every single code that was sent was PC. So something happened with the console version where they said, no, don't do it. And a 5-bomb comes in from Abe. Good to see you, Laney, over here on Purple. How are you? 372. Abe felt bad about ruining Stone Spire's setup, so he dropped the 5-bomb. He felt guilty. I had an out. See you, Lono. All right, see you, Abe. So I went from being told, hey, you're going to get early access, this is the embargo, to you're going to get a code after the embargo lifts. And it's like, wait, what? Like, I think somewhere along the line, that's what happened. Somebody said, we don't want the console codes to go out until people have access to the day one patch. Push Square has said they will not get their PS5 review code till the 12th, tomorrow after it is launched. Yeah, mine literally says key distribution will begin on September the 11th once the embargo is lifted. That's what I was told the other day, or yesterday. I think it was yesterday when I asked. I was like, hey, is there an ETA on this? Because I need to be, I wasn't being pesky. I didn't email them a bunch. I emailed them once. I was just asking for ETA because it's like, I have to plan my day around this. Like, am I getting this now? Am I getting this today? Am I getting it tomorrow? I kind of need to know, or I can't plan. Because the initial email made it sound like you're going to get early access. You can't connect your account. I would imagine there's a lot of people trying to do it. That would be my guess. Is there's a lot of people trying to connect their accounts. As far as we know, consoles do not have the option to change FOV. I looked it up. It looks like in the 144 to 60 capture, the card drops all the frames that don't match up exactly with full frame every 1 1/60th of a second. The gap is short enough that the motion still looks smooth. Yeah, this is a long time ago, Zoob. I mean, back in 2018 is when I tinkered with this and just eventually relented. And then 2019, when Borderlands 3 came out, I relented again. I was like, I'm just not going to try to push beyond 60. It just wasn't worth the headache. It was so frustrating. Everything got smooth as soon as I just set everything to 60. And I was like, well, that solves the problem. I'm not doing this anymore. I spent days trying to get it to look smooth and couldn't. Now, that was a long time ago with different capture cards. So, given that I do the vast majority of my gaming on console, I am not concerned. I'm just not. Playing at 60 on a 50-70, I can push everything else probably to the max for the most part. So, it might be an OBS issue. OBS apparently doesn't play nicely with anything. OBS is real finicky when it comes to frames and hitches and stutters. Like, I'll go like this in my preview. Like, I'll just wave my hand like this, right? And I just saw a micro stutter, right? And sometimes you guys will see it. Sometimes you won't. Like, sometimes it only happens in the preview window, and it's just a total fake micro stutter. Other times it comes through in the broadcast. And unless you're looking for it, you won't really see it. Now, as far as I can tell, it's a Windows level thing. It's a Windows level thing. I've tried on different computers, different PCs. I've tried different software. Like not even OBS. I've tried other software. I forget what the other broadcasting software was. And the stutters would still happen. And I'm like, well, that's a Windows thing. Something at a Windows level causes it. Streamlabs, OBS, just regular OBS. Yeah, just regular OBS. This is probably the fourth computer I've ever had where I've tested it, and it happens on this one. I mean, this is the brand new one that we got earlier. Was that this year? I don't even remember when that was. I think that was this year. There's a micro setter in OBS after so many frames. Was not Game Bar? No, it wasn't Game Bar. But oh, believe me, we spent a week trying to figure it out. We went through every setting, everything in Windows we could look at, and we never could get it to go away. Yeah, it's known issue. I remember I found a forum post about it, and it was like years old, and the guy had updated it, and he was like, I'm still having the problem. I'm like, well, this is a lost cause. They did post at 1 p.m. today, so 3 hours ago UK time. I'm not sure who are you talking about? Are you talking about Borderlands? I'll be able to play on PC in about 50 minutes. Well, I'll be able to install it in about 50 minutes. When I can play, we don't actually know. But we are going to be jumping into Borderlands 4 gameplay today. So we will be doing that today. If you're interested in Borderlands 4, we're playing today. Pre-built or custom? Pre-built. Keep scrolling Twitter, seeing nothing. Yeah, there's nothing to report at this point. We know the launch window of Borderlands. Like we know what it is. We know when people can play. Co Carnage says, quick note, Twitch, don't do drops for Stream Together. You got people using Stream Together and basically just sharing a viewer count with each other while they play solo. No interaction at all. Is that your intention for the system? Seems kind of dumb. I mean, yeah, I don't think incentives should ever be attached to that because people are going to do it. People are going to do it just for just for the drop. So do y'all remember the original date was September the 12th? Well, the date is still September the 12th. There's just it's a staggered release. Like PC can get in a little bit early. Obviously, other time zones can get a little bit early. That's been in place for a while. They had that calendar. I think they had that launch map last week sometime. So we are obviously in a holding pattern for Borderlands 4 gameplay like the rest of you. We are waiting to either install on PC or a code that I was told I'd be getting sent. Dead Reset just released. Dead Reset. What is that? Is that like some kind of scary game? There are people streaming the game right now. We know that. If anyone's stuck in a later time zone, just change your region to New Zealand. Yeah, I don't think it's that easy. I don't think you can just go in and do that. I mean, I know people do that all the time, but I don't think you can do that on Steam and just install. If you can, I've never had anybody tell me that. I think in the past, when you did that, wasn't it to change where you were downloading from? Yeah, I don't know why you people that have like never said a word in my channel before keep coming in and trying to bring this up. I'm just gonna keep putting you in timeout. I don't trust it. I feel like y'all have an agenda. I feel like you're clip farming. You're trying to bring in some super controversial topic, and you've never uttered a word in my channel before. I'm just giving you guys 24-hour timeouts. I don't trust it. I've been ignoring it up to now and not really acknowledging it, but if people continue to come in and ask me about that, you're getting a 24. That's not what we're talking about. I have no interest in talking about it. So if you want to discuss that with YouTubers and podcasts, you're going to have to find somewhere else to do it. Yes, exactly. There have been there have been developers and people at companies that have said things that I would say are pretty reprehensible. That's the most commentary you're going to get out of me on it. I don't want to get into some big discussion. That's not what my channel's about. Yeah, we'll co-stream the Direct tomorrow, the Nintendo Direct. Yes. We got some Borderlands 4 golden keys in the Discord. For those of you that hang out in the Discord, that's a great reason to become a member to the channel over here on YouTube or a sub on Twitch. Should I get this or this GPU? I have no idea. I don't cover or make recommendations on tech. I have a 5070 Ti that I have played 5 minutes of Horizon Forbidden West on when I first got it. That's who you're talking to. I got a rig with a 4060 that I stream on. I never tested a single game on it. Like that's who you're talking to. That's just I am super peasant. Super peasant. Casual dad, gamer, peasant. Casual dad, gamer, peasant, tourist, whatever weird internet insults they want to lobby at me. I wear them proudly because I don't care about those things. Some guy said to me the other day, he's like, you're a tourist. I'm like, that is interesting that you think anybody that's an adult cares about things like that. I was like, all right. What's the Discord chat room name? Well, you can use the Discord command, !Discord, and you can go into the Discord and go live stream chat. Someone in there already posted it. So I don't typically do shift codes. I don't even remember if my shift account, I should probably do that now. I should probably go to shift and log in and make sure I've got all my stuff synced up. So that if I do want to do some shift codes, I can. Privacy policy. Jiminy frickin' Christmas. That was like a mile long. Okay, my profile, my display name, gaming platforms. I got Steam linked. I got Epic linked. Xbox is not linked. 2K is not linked. Hang on. Let me unlink my purple and let me relink my purple. Okay. It says I need to refresh the link with Twitch. Sony Entertainment is not linked. Another shift display name was found for this platform. Please choose which shift display name you should keep. Hang on a second. Let me go to my profile and change the display name. There we go. Wait, that's not the right... No, that's not the right PlayStation account. This is super weird. It's acting like I'm logged into PlayStation, but it's not showing the correct username. Yeah, it just immediately says Lono got a gun. I wonder if do I have another shift account that I can use? Yeah, I've got one where my username is apparently Lono, but I don't know incorrect email or password. Forgot password. I don't even know what password or email I would have used. Let me see if my Gmail can use it. It's like it's showing the wrong username. You should be able to change the account name. No, I go to unlink Sven and then I go to relink and it doesn't even give me the option to like log into my PlayStation account. it just immediately relinks it and says Lono got a gun. And I'm like, I've not used that as a PSN in an age. Let me just sign in with my PSN and see if I can do it that way. Let's try that. Copy that. Because if they're doing shift codes and stuff, sometimes it's nice to have those, you know? The email you provided is already in use. Well, send me the frickin' forgot password instructions. I already did that. Wait. I think it changed it to Gmail or off of my Gmail. Do you guys ever have your browser do that? Like you're going to do something and you type in one thing and it switches it like at the last second, like some kind of quick change artist, and you're like, hey, wait a minute, that's not what I typed. Why'd you do that? Okay, cool. Yeah, that's exactly what it did. Confirm your account. Okay. Now let's try it with this new email. Okay. Gaming platforms. Yeah, it already says that my Sony account's linked under Lono Got a Gun. And I click sign in and it just automatically does it. I don't freaking understand. How is that even possible? I literally hit it to link my Sony account and it instantly does it. It doesn't ask for my password, nothing. Like, that doesn't make any sense. This is so broken. It doesn't ask for anything. This is a brand new account with a brand new email address. A new platform was added. Your Shift account is now linked to your PSN account. But what? Oh my gosh. Their platform doesn't work right, like, at all. Yeah, I clicked to register with PlayStation and it's just like automatically doing it. I do not understand. Is it Twitch or YouTube? There's a thing called Shift, and you can get like Shift rewards for your Gearbox account, for your Borderlands account, right? But you have to connect your gaming platforms. Well, I'm going on the back end, and I'm saying sign in to Sony, and it just instantly signs me in, and then it shows Lono Got a Gun. And I'm like, but that's not my PlayStation account name. I don't even know what PlayStation account name that is. It doesn't make an ounce of sense. Like, it's not asking me for a username, email, password, nothing. Where are the codes? I don't even... We have the codes in our Discord. Somebody puts them in the Discord. Yeah. I'm over it. If I have to try that many times to do something, I stop. I'm done. I don't care anymore. I've officially decided that I don't care. Another review roundup. Didn't you stream this for 3 hours last night? The reviews didn't drop yesterday. We already did the review roundup today. We had bad intel yesterday. So, it was unfortunate. We also seemingly have been dealing with a moving goalpost of when codes will be distributed for early access as well. If you make it aggravating to figure out or waste my time. Yeah, when something like that doesn't work, dude, I tap out almost instantly. I'm like, I don't freaking care. You know what I mean? Like, I've done that with so many things recently. Like, if your website doesn't work, I leave instantly. I'm like, I'm good. I've got other things I can do with my time instead of sit here and push buttons on your website. Like, I don't give a frick. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't have time for this, bro. Like, it either works or it doesn't. I'm not here to clock in hours for you. You know what I mean? To try to troubleshoot your website. Do you have to do anything to opt into the drop? No. You shouldn't have to. It should just do it automatically on your Twitch account. Now, you may have to link your Twitch account to a Shift account. So, yeah. We've certainly had a lot of people come in today and ask about that. They're like, how do I do this? So yeah, I don't know what it's doing. Okay, maybe incognito did work. You guys said that, and I thought maybe that's the trick. Maybe that's the trick. Hang on a second. I wonder if it is logging me in and working, and it's just showing the old account name. I wonder if that's what's going on. Because if I do it here with a brand new fresh login incognito and it works, I wonder if it's just a caching issue on their website and it's just showing my old account name. I bet you that's it. The platform ID is associated with another account. Well, which frickin' one? It's got to be this one. It's got to be this one. It's just showing the wrong one. Yeah. It's showing... I think what it's doing is it's showing my old username. So, let me put in codes. Where do you put in codes? Rewards? Yeah, here we go. All right, let me try, and we'll see when we boot up the game if this worked. Because I've not used this in forever. Redeemed awards for PSN. Redeemed for PSN. Your code was successfully redeemed. Redeemed for PSN. There we go. All right. So we'll know as soon as I can play the game on PSN if it worked or not. We'll know. So it's the same email address as my PSN, so I should be able to remember that. I should be able to remember that. Where are our codes? I've got the codes in the Discord. I'm not putting them in chat. If you're a member or a sub, you got to go to the Discord to get the codes. We've been thinking of ways to get people to go to the Discord and use the Discord. And there's your reason. 5 spot from Tenor Dude just tuning in. What's too long? Didn't read on reviews. It is... Where'd they go? Here we go. Let's see. 84 OpenCritic, 84 Metacritic. The performance issues are not really talked about in any of the reviews. PlayStation Game Size is saying they played for 2 hours. They don't need any additional downloads to start playing. The game can be played with just the 28 gig download. Performance was also smooth without any issues. Is it good? 3 was huge. I mean, we're hearing I'm not hearing anything that's that concerning. The only thing that people kept bringing up in the reviews that were like more tepid or more mediocre, they felt like the story and the characters weren't that great. And I'm like, well, that isn't really why I play a Borderlands game. I mean, I want the characters to be good and the humor to be good, but I'm playing for the loot. So, redeem the codes when you get to max level. They do so many shift codes. I'm not gonna. I'm good to just use them whenever. Is it true that cross progression isn't carried over onto your solo save? We're hearing that the map fog and map things don't carry over, but everything else does. Shroud was quoted as saying that yes, progression carries over. So if you're not the host and you do missions 1 through 7, those missions will be completed on your account. But the map and the fog and the map stuff isn't. It's a new thing that they've done with respect to like an open world map. So it likely isn't syncing properly, would be my assumption. Why is the new normal now performance issues? I mean, it's related to Unreal. You know, Unreal 5's got baked in issues with stuttering. Anytime you're doing a big multi-plat release, it just adds complexity. You know, it adds complexity. So that's always going to cause issues. It's a bummer that that's the reality that we're in, but that's the reality that we're in. So, guys, if you haven't done so already on YouTube, we need 14 more likes for 300 likes. Try to help us with that. We're in this just unfortunate holding pattern today with having to wait. Nothing I can do about it other than just wait. I appreciate you being here, Omar. Again with this, the result always come down to the developers. Again with what? What are you so flustered about? Is Discord access for YouTube subs or is it available for Twitch subs as well? If you sub to Twitch or you're a member on YouTube, you get access to the Discord. So yes, just sync it up. Why wait? I don't have a choice. The PC install will be available to me in 29 minutes. I was told that I was getting an early access code and that distribution would start at 8 a.m. this morning. It is now 11:30, so I'm not really sure what's going on with that. That whole situation is very bizarre. I was told I was getting a code. They said the embargo was 8 a.m. this morning, and then they said that the codes were going out at 8 a.m. this morning. I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense. The embargo is usually for people that get the game before the embargo, not you're going to get the code after the embargo. It's like, well, then what was the point of the embargo? I literally think that they pumped the brakes on console codes. I think they basically said the day one patch fixes a lot of these issues, so don't give people access prior to this, is what my current theory is. It looks like multiple drops, but only one is counting. Imagine being a gamer in any year and relying on digital only. I still buy discs from Amazon. The result of how optimized a game is doesn't come down to the number of platforms it releases on. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is an example. Gears is another example. Well, we actually had this conversation yesterday, and I completely falsified your position, and you're just restating it today. So, can't believe I'm going to roll from Silksong to Borderlands to Yote. What a season. Just bing, 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 bing. One right after another. One right after another. Big game after big game after big game. Nowadays, it doesn't matter to buy a CD or not. You still need to download something from online. Some single-player games in online. Yeah, well, I mean, and the vast majority of people, I mean, the Steam user base is enormous, and they're all digital only. So it's like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, if people want to be digital only, There's actually a lot of single player games that you don't need any internet connection for. There are accounts that track that. It would actually shock you. It would actually shock you how many games right now you can buy single player that you never need an internet connection for. The list is much larger than you would expect. You would think that the alternative is true. That you would basically be like, no, every game needs to download something or you can't play. Now, avoiding day one patches, you can do that to your own peril. I mean, a lot of the times they're going to fix pretty glaring problems and pretty significant issues. And if you're not downloading that day one patch, you're missing out on that stuff. I highly recommend Hell Is Us. I just couldn't get over that combat. I thought that combat felt like doo-doo. I thought everything else in the game was wonderful. I loved it. I loved the tone, the vibe, the music, the graphics, the figure it out on your own philosophy. But, buddy, I got in that combat, and I was like, man, this sucks. It just didn't feel good. Even the people that really like it are like, yeah, the combat's kind of ish, Which is unfortunate, because the combat was one of the things that early on looked really cool. And I know there's videos of people with, like, crazy builds killing everything, like, really, really fast. Generally speaking, it was the telegraphs and the parries and the dodges that just felt wonky. I was like, this just doesn't feel tight. It doesn't feel good. Tenor Dude with 5 months says double dip. Thank you so much. It's 65-22. Hang on 1 second. Server settings. Where do you... Here we go. Man. There we go. Thank you for the gifted, Stone. I know what Stone Spire's going to do. He's going to take the milestone. He's like, forget all the setups. I'm just going to take it. Most discs have games on discs. Does it play? Yeah, the Does It Play account checks it. Yeah, and 2 singles from Stone Spire secures the 75. I tell you what, I know that I owe at least like 3 or 4. I'm going to give you guys a 5-bomb once we get into gameplay. All right? We're going to be in gameplay soon. About 24 minutes, I'll be able to install it. We need a couple more likes to get to 300 likes, guys. Thanks so much for a big day. And, Greg, I went ahead and unbanned you in the Discord. And I'm just going to be honest with you. I didn't freaking know that was you. I didn't know who you were. I was like, I don't know who this snippy furry is, but I'm freaking walking him out of here. I was just annoyed with you that day. I was like, I don't know who the frick this guy is. I didn't know who you were. So I was just like, get the frick out of my Discord. I saw you being like ornery and snippy and persnickety with people, and I was like, man, just get the frick out of my Discord. I didn't know. I was like, I don't know. I didn't know who you were. People were like, that was Greg. And I was like, oh. I was like, well, he's being a prick anyway. He's being a prick. Get the frick out. You're just being annoying. Yeah. You apologized. I think you knew you were being annoying. You're like, yeah, sorry about that. I went ahead and revoked the ban. Hang on. What's going on over here? What is this? Oh, Alex gifted one. Agent of Chaos. Agent of Chaos, 376. Thank you so much. Get you back in. Get you guys back in here. It's 23-65. Thank you so much, Alex. Hang on here. Another thing about Metroidvanias. Those maps never show the details of a room necessary to navigate it. Oh, we forgot to mention the big wall that blocks your path. Oh, you used to be ranting about the mapping in Silksong. If I showed up with an alt and acted like I do now, how long would I last? I have to imagine I would piss off this Jimmy Neutron-looking mother effer pretty quick. Well, yeah, when you've got time in and you've got rapport with me, you know, you have a lot more leeway. It's like when you're, you know, when a family member, you know, calls you by a nickname that you don't like, and a stranger calls you a nickname that you don't like. In one instance, you might come to blows, you know, and knock somebody's teeth out. In another instance, you're just going to laugh it off. So I do think there's something to be said for that. Like, I had no idea who he was. I'm like, I don't know who the frick this guy is in my Discord, but he's being a jerk. Like, just get the frick out of here. Somebody was like, that was Greg. And I was like, what? I was like, he was just being an ornery furry. I was like, just get the frick out. You can play Borderlands 4? Yeah, I am. I am going to play. I can't install for the next 20 minutes on PC. And I've been checking my email for the last 3 hours. I was supposed to be getting a code, but people can be jerks if you know them. If his name would have been Greg, I would have been like, shut the frick up, Greg. Like, it would have been different. The whole exchange would have been different. It wouldn't have gone that way. I didn't know who he was. I was just like, I've just been seeing this name in my Discord being ornery with people, and it didn't make any sense to me. Once I knew who it was, I was like, that's just freaking Greg. Like, hear that, boys? He's got a nickname he doesn't like. I actually don't have nicknames in my circles that I don't like. Nobody really, I mean, my wife has nicknames for me that we won't say here, but, you know. Who's Greg? Greg is a long-standing member here. I actually used to do a podcast called The Rageless Roundtable, and we did it about Destiny. And instead of having like other streamers on, I had guys like Greg and Lightleap come onto that podcast, right? So that was a lifetime ago. That was an age ago. So if Lightleap would have been in the Discord being like that, I'd have been like, man, shut the frick up, Lightleap. Like, Lightleap's got a very different personality, so he probably wouldn't have been doing that. But, you know, anybody that I have like a history and a rapport with, I'm more likely just to tell them to shut the frick up instead of like being like, man, who are you? Because again, and this is part of the problem of the current zeitgeist that we live in, you just get people that are bad actors. They're in there in bad faith. They're in there just trying to be a stirrer. They're just trying to stir stuff up. And so it's like, it's hard not to think that that's what's going on sometimes. You're like, this guy's just in here trying to be annoying, you know. So it's just one of those things. Unfortunately, that's the time we live in. You know, people will sit around long enough to get it gifted, and then they'll get in the Discord, and then they'll just be an idiot. You know, and then there's Greg. Is her pet name for you? Yeah, it's Russian. Yeah, she has Russian pet names for me. That's right, Zubair. Yeah, she actually does call me that. Like, if I'm doing something and I mess something up, she'll like whisper it to me. Like, the kids are nearby, and she'll like lean in real close. She'll be like, dumbass. Thank you for explaining my lore. I mean, I can't explain the lore any further than I did. I don't know why your name changed, and I don't know why you're when you became, maybe you always were a furry. I don't know. Maybe you were a closeted furry back in the day. I'm not sure. To be honest with you, I don't care. I don't care about that part of your life. But yeah. We don't king shame here. I didn't shame. I just expressed zero interest in knowing anything about it. I'm not king shaming. I don't care. It's apathy. I'm expressing apathy. Like, I don't care about that at all. You know? on a list of things I got to care about during the day and things I got to spend my time on. That ain't on the list, brother. Let me check my junk mail. Nope. Yeah. I don't know what's going on, boys. I've got a junk mail here from somebody at Bloomberg. The new iPhones are here. Not quite sure why that's going to junk, but it is. I don't think my other emails would be getting it, though. Yeah. What class am I interested in? I'm going to play as Rafa when I play with my wife. She's always the Siren. I'll probably play as the Siren when I'm by myself. There's Harlow also looks really interesting. The one that's the least interesting to me is Eamon. Did you time me out or one of your mods? Oh, did you come back on a separate account? It was me. Yeah. People that have said, like, not a single utterance of a single word in my chat suddenly coming in and bringing up something controversial. Yeah, I'm just going to hit you with a 24-hour. I'm not even going to explain it to you. I don't owe you an explanation. Don't come in here and do that. Oh, you guys are talking about Borderlands? What do you think about this hyper-controversial thing that happened yesterday? By the way, I've never talked in here before. Like, I'm just assuming you're coming in on bad faith. You know? Oh, that. Yeah, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not doing that today. So, yeah, your alt doesn't belong here. Me too. Eamon first. Oh, you're doing Eamon first? I know he's not fully melee, but he's melee enough that I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to mess with him. I'm just not. I've never been attracted to the melee characters, you know. Even if they have you know, non-melee abilities. So like Rafa has an entire skill tree you can just ignore that has like the blades, like the melee blades or whatever. So imagine keeping a gaming news channel about gaming news. Well, yeah. Well, and some people are going to try and make it about gaming news because, you know, there are developers and community managers that I think rather stupidly forget that they're attached to really big projects and really big companies, and they forget that. And they comment on and say things about topics and things that are, they just shouldn't be doing that. That's the most commentary you're going to get from me on the matter. Why are these new characters so mid? What would you say is mid about them? Just looked them up. All of the reviews I read today said that the characters are so good, it's honestly hard to pick a character. They said that in times past, they would steer newcomers away from certain characters, but they said that these characters are so good that like you can literally pick any one of them. They don't look particularly interesting. Well, I mean, that's subjective to you. I think they all look pretty awesome. They all have very unique looks and feels. I'm seeing complaints about the co-op campaign progression being problematic. Hopefully they can rectify it. That is so bizarre that they would struggle with that. They're the co-op kings. I don't know how they could mess that up. The worst part is they are good. I can't choose. I think maybe Rafa or Vex. The good thing is that you literally only have to play the story once. Like, that's just so great. Like, you beat the game, and then after that, you can be like, give me a level 30 Eamon. Give me a level 30 Vex. Like, I love that. It's like just immediately being able to, like, build, like, try things. Check your whispers. Oh, you're not whispering me. I was like, yeah, you shouldn't be able to whisper me. Who wrote the tweet? A friend sent me a tweet saying that. Yeah, can you tell us who tweeted it? Because we're hearing Shroud seemed to indicate that it was fine playing co-op and progressing. Others are saying there's something weird with the map. Can you tell us the username that said it and we can look at what they're claiming? You don't have to do the campaign with each Vault Hunter? No. Once you complete the campaign, anytime you make a new character, you can say make them a level 1 or a level 30, and you can just instantly jump into Ultimate Vault Hunter mode with them. You don't have to replay the campaign 4 times. I mean, you talk about a quality of life update. I mean, that's fantastic. You know? That's great. Not that was ever like a major problem, but like it definitely made it to where like if you wanted to do all 4 characters, you're like, gee, many Christmas. You know, that could feel almost insurmountable to a certain degree. Some games charge $20 for that skip. Stop it. I'm likely going to play all 4 Vault Hunters to at least 30 and then choose who I want to be main based on how they all play. The skill trees are so advanced that each character can be played a number of ways. I guess my question, Corey, is why wouldn't you just beat the game and then try them all at level 30? Why would you level them all to 30? I feel like you would know pretty quickly. Like, you'll get to level 10 and you'll know, I don't like this character, or I do. Taking them all the way to 30 when you can literally do the game one time and then do that, I guess I'd be curious why you would do that. I mean, I don't care. You can do whatever you want with your time. I'm just curious why you would do it. Some people want the game to last. Oh, I mean, yeah, maybe. I mean, that's a way to elongate the game for sure. Yeah. Game's pretty good. You've been playing all morning? We will be playing shortly. Downloading the game from Steam the minute it's available is probably going to be an exercise in insanity. I was told they were going to roll out keys starting at 8 this morning. I don't know how many keys they got to roll out, but it's been 4 hours. 4 hours to roll out keys sounds like something else is going on. It sounds like potentially, again, there was some type of an initiative taken to like, hey, you know, something with console is amiss. You're installing on Xbox, you're still doing that stupid stuff. I mean it, just pause and unpause, pause and unpause. Eventually it'll hit a high speed and just it'll hold. That's every time I was doing Fortnite, updating Fortnite for my daughter, I would do that. And then obviously clearing out the quick resume list fixed it, but that might have been pure coincidence that day. I don't know. You not watch any footage of the game? You don't want spoilers? It's fair. It's just frustrating. At this point, I just hope I get the PS5 code so my wife and I can play tonight. You know what I mean? We'll get back from soccer practice and we're gonna throw down. We're gonna get some game time in. Although her and I starting fresh on Friday night might be fun for you guys to see. you know? That might be fun to wait. That is, if you guys hit the goal. I think you're going to hit the goal. You're 124 away from hitting the goal. $7.50 for Saturday, by the way. We'll do a Saturday stream. Like, we'll eat dinner and come down here right away and play with you guys. We'll do a long stream on Saturday of Borderlands with y'all if we hit 750 on the week, which we may be able to do tomorrow. Tomorrow might be kind of crazy. Yeah. I've looked into that. It's possible that even games in suspension push downloads to low priority, so they are slower. Killing all the suspends lets the download be top priority. Wait, what are you talking about? Are you talking about on Xbox, Zuby, or are you talking about something else? What do your kids do when you and Madam stream on Friday nights? They usually play board games upstairs in the living room. They've invented some of their own board games. Like, they really like Splendor, and they invented Extreme Splendor, which they play until literally all of the cards are gone, and then they add up their points. They got back into Stratego recently. They'll play Parcheesi. They'll play... I got that Vorlog game from AC Valhalla, like the dice game. They like that one. Yeah. They love to play board games. That's usually what they do on Friday nights. Do your kids not play video games much? They get to play for 2 hours every Saturday. We really limit their screen time. Throughout the week, they might get to like watch a movie or something. If my wife's got an appointment, they'll sit out there on the other side of the wall and like watch a movie. But we limit their screen time. Yeah. So even on Saturdays, we're like, yep, it's 2 hours. And even that's painful sometimes. They'll fall apart on me. And then 10 minutes later, they're okay. It's like, oh, it's so stimulating. Their little brains are like, meh. It's a lot. It's a lot. The thing that's really frustrating them lately is they play all these user-curated games in Fortnite, and some of them are buggy and glitchy. And I'm like, hey, guys, you got 15 minutes, do your last thing. Well, the last thing can go really poorly. And then they're very upset because they're like, I didn't get to play it, bugged out, it disconnected me, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I've been trying to warn you guys, play something else, do something else. Sadly, there haven't been any good co-op games for us to play together. My son did not like Donkey Kong after 20 minutes. He just didn't like it because he didn't even like playing as either character. How old are they? 11. My daughter's 11. My son is 9. Is Lono sort of Amish? They create a lot of things by themselves. I am not even remotely Amish, no. What about the Lego games? Do they like those? My son got bored with Skywalker Saga pretty quickly. I think he'll love Batman when it finally comes out. The Lego Voyager game they might like. They like Mario Party, but then usually that's one afternoon and then they're good. We all played Mario Party together as a family, and then they were good. They didn't want to play anymore. Lego Party comes out end of this month, I think. They'll probably really like that, so we'll probably play that a little bit. So... this dude's streaming video games from his basement. Worst Amish ever, right? Play sports. Yeah, they don't really like the sports games. They like to play soccer in real life, but I don't think that they don't really gravitate to sports video games. Yeah. Mario Party's overhyped. Mario Party is fun, and just until it's not. Once you kind of hit your limit with a game like that, you're just you put it down relatively quickly. Is usually how it goes. Hello, fellow gamers. Hello. All right, I'll be opening Steam in 2 minutes to get this install going. The Wii had far better family sports games. They really liked Switch Sports with the bowling and stuff. We played that for a couple of weeks in a row and had a really good time with it. They just suddenly were like, they wanted to play certain games, and they've just gravitated to Fortnite. My son likes to play Fortnite Battle Royale. He loves it. He gets into the top 10 regularly. He thinks it's the best. So he shut it down easily last week. Sometimes he was stuck in these weird, stupid mini games, and he'd get pretty upset when I'm like, "You got to shut it down." He's like, "But it glitched, and I didn't get to play." And I'm like, "I'm sorry. Like, we're done." All fun and games until you're passing go and you're staring down a row of hotels that you don't own. That is the worst. I will fight people on this, that Monopoly is the worst board game ever created, because it wasn't designed to be a board game. It wasn't designed to be fun. It was designed to educate you on how, like, real estate commerce is like predatory. It was originally designed to be like, isn't this terrible? It's meant to be a bad experience. That's how it's designed. If you look up the history of that board game, that's why it is the worst board game ever. It's designed to tear families apart. It's meant to be a bad time. Like, if you look at the inception of it and when it was originally designed, it is meant to be bad. You're not meant to have a good time. It's supposed to educate you on, yeah, this sucks, doesn't it? Sounds like someone always loses at Monopoly. No, it's not even fun to win. Like, if you get ahead, it's not fun to win, because you're winning on the misery of others. Like, it's like, I don't want to play that game with my kids. When we play, I play to win, and my kids are good at board games. You know, my son beat us the other night at Splendor. They're good. So it's like, it's not even like they always lose, but like, whoever's winning in Monopoly, it's not even enjoyable. It's almost cruel. It's like, yeah, enjoy being terrible and enjoy having a terrible time. You know? All right, my Borderlands 4 download has started. We in here, boys. We in here. All right. I have memories of my sister flipping the board because she lost a lot. So, okay. My favorite board games involve strategy and RNG, right? So we enjoy games like Splendor and really good two-player games like Morals. It's like the Mushrooms Morals. Morels. Mandala's really good. Azul is a good game for multiple people. There was the really good one with dice that we liked, Strangala. What's that one called? Dice board game Strangala. What's it called? No, shoot, I can't remember the name of it. Strangata or something. I can't remember it. It's got dice, and you got like these sheets. Oh, there it is. Sagrada. 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 And so I really enjoy games like that, where there are elements of there's randomness, but there's strategy, right? Those are very, very enjoyable board games, because even if you are losing, you're still working on something. You're still like in the fight, right? Whether it's Azul or Sagrada or the one we played just recently, Splendor. But a game like Monopoly, what ends up happening is it's, I don't know, maybe halfway through, there's a winner and there's losers, and nothing's changing generally. Like, that's it. It's set. The game is set at that point. It's like, yeah, we're just going to play for the next hour as I slowly win and you slowly lose. And it's just like, it's written in stone at that point. It's like, why play this? Why play this? This is not enjoyable. In Splendor, I was doing very well the other night, and my daughter had made some bad choices, and she had fallen behind pretty quickly, but she didn't care. She was being goofy. And then my son, all of a sudden, boom. He won. It was like he made a couple of moves and he bought some really expensive cards and he won just like that. I was 2 points away from winning and he blasted past me. That to me is a great game. Like that's a very well built game, you know, for that reason. That's the point of the game. That's why I always tell people Monopoly is the worst board game because it was meant to be educational. It's meant to be misery. Like you're meant to play it and be like, this sucks. And they're like, yep, that's right. That's exactly right. Like it was never designed to be fun. It's an educational tool. Like it belongs in a classroom. It's like, well, I'm not having a good time. This is terrible. Yep, you're right. That's what the game's designed to do. It's designed to educate you on, you know, how this level of commerce is predatory and terrible. So, yeah. Board games take too long. There are fast board games. There's a really good fast board game that's sort of a mixture of card games and board game. It's called Shifting Stones. That's a really fun one. It's quick. The games go like that. Shifting Stones is pretty fast. Splendor's pretty quick if people, you know, make up their mind, but it's hard because you're trying to strategize like long-term plays and plans, and you have to like watch what others are doing. So that one can take a long time. If depending on who you're playing with. Azul is good, but can also take a long time. So probably the fastest board game that we've got that we think is fun is Shifting Stones. That's a good one. It's easy to set up. It's quick, you know, and it doesn't take a whole lot of like thought and strategy. Are you always GM? Huh? And like D&D? I don't do D&D. No throttling on Steam? Yeah, mine's screaming. I'm downloading it at 600. I'm already at 29%. Like, yeah, I'm moving at a quick clip here. I'm very shocked. It ain't Silk Song, so. Game Master, my bad. No, you're good. Stratego's nice, but Stratego does take a while to set up. Once Stratego is set up, it goes pretty quickly if you're committed to playing fast and not like sitting there and like overthinking it. Uno is completely dependent on family rules. I think Uno is like Monopoly to me. Uno is like Monopoly. It's like the worst card game. It's not fun to play. It is not fun to play. You know, it's just this. I just think Uno's boring. Uno's like playing Candyland. You're not in charge. You like Candyland is literally just the spinner determines everything. There's no strategy, there's no planning. And Uno is like barely above that. Like you don't do anything in Uno. Now you might decide whether you lay a blue 7 or a red 7, but that's it. It's like that the strategy is like almost non-existent in that game, which makes it just really unenjoyable. I'm like, I'm not doing anything. Like that's why I tune out. Shoots and Ladders is goated. Shoots and Ladders is just a slightly more mature version of Candyland. You aren't determining the outcome at all. It's just this dispassionate spinner. You spin it and it determines where you go. You're not in charge. You're moving pieces according to nothing other than the spinner. You aren't determining anything. Play a different version of Uno? No. We tried Uno Flip and it felt just as dumb. I was like, this is a dumb card game. It's a dumb card game. Phase 10 is fun. 5 Crowns is fun. Skippo is fun. Uno is not fun. Like, I don't feel like I'm doing anything. Like, you have to think, a lot of these games are designed like for you to play with like a 5-year-old. So, because like they don't have to think. They're just like, yay! And they hit the spinner and they move their character. It's teaching them cause and effect and math, right? Cause and effect, and it's teaching them, elements of math. Okay? But once they get to an age where they can strategize, as soon as my kids were like 6 and 8, I was like, we're playing real board games. You guys are going to learn. You're going to learn how to play actual games. And that's why now when we play a game like Quirkle or Splendor, they'll frickin' wipe the floor with you if you're not paying attention, because they know how to play. They're good. They're smart. They strategize. They think. They plan. They think, 5 plays ahead. That to me is, those are valuable lessons. My kids are sharp. You would never think it, but because you're like, oh, they're 9 and 11, I'll beat them in a board game. No, you better watch yourself. You'll find yourself losing all of a sudden. You're like, what happened? Yeah, my Borderlands PC download is at 50%. We're getting there, boys. We'll be playing soon. Uno house rules is what makes the game boring. It makes the game ridiculous. Oh, yeah, if you play with people that, want to make one person hold 50 cards, yeah. I mean, it's comedic and funny for memes and, little videos on Twitter and TikTok. But, yeah, who wants to play that? Scrabble. Scrabble's not bad. Trivia games can be fun. Games like Pictionary can be fun. Games like Catchphrase can be fun. Because they're just it's just good for a big group, right? We always end up playing Catchphrase at Thanksgiving with my family, and it's a good time. That's a fun time. I don't like games where you're determining almost nothing, or games like Monopoly where one person wins about 10 minutes, 20 minutes in, and then everybody else sits in misery for an hour. It's that's not a board game. Again, its inception was to educate people. It's meant to be unfun. It's literally meant to not be a fun experience. Yeah, Catan is really fun. Rummy Cube is really fun. Yep. These are all great board games. Yeah. Is the game live yet? I will be able to play on PC in, 10 minutes or so, which I should probably schedule the gameplay stream and take a quick break before we dive in. See my last. Games are on a scale from complete RNG to complete skill, so dice roll to chess. The fun is the balance of both. I think that's very well stated, Hilly. Some people really want to be in chess because that is 100% all skill, no RNG. And then some people really want to be in just total RNG, right? They just want to play Candyland. I agree. I think the middle ground is where the fun factor lies. There's good surprises. There's good elements of oh, that really ended up helping me, and then there's strategy. Both are present, and I think those end up being the most fun. I agree. Let's see here. Schedule. No, unless the code just came in, this is going to be Borderlands PC gameplay. Okay. Actually, let's clear that out and just do these tags. We'll set it for public. 3 minutes from now. We play a lot of Villainous and Munchkin, as well as co-op card builder games, Harry Potter Theme 1 and Avatar Last Airbender. We have so many Villainous games and so many Villainous characters, and one of the reasons Villainous just never gets pulled out, which is unfortunate because I think Villainous is really fun. One of the reasons Villainous just never gets pulled out is because you basically have to spend the entire first game learning the strategy of a character, and then by the end you're like, oh, I get it, this was fun. But then it's you almost have to play immediately again right then. Does that make sense? You're like, oh, you almost want to play like immediately again right then. You're like, oh, I actually understand this character now. But now it's like, well, we've been playing for an hour and a half. It's time to close up shop and put it away. And then the next time you come back, it's like, do you remember how to play as that character? That's like my only issue. That's my only issue with Villainous, is I like it. It's just like you almost need to commit to being like, let's all play. Everybody kind of learns their character, and then let's play again the next night, so everybody's kind of ready to play well, if that makes sense. So, because it's like every character has a different approach and a different task and like a different thing that they're supposed to be doing. Okay. Finally got it. Yeah, mine is almost done. Let me get a, I need a cable. A cable for my DualSense. We are currently at 87% on the download. So give me just a second. I'll be right back. And by that time, we should be able to just jump into gameplay. Guys, remember on YouTube to hit like and do all the things. We'll be going to a new stream. Remember, when we go to the new stream, I'm going to need a bunch of likes again, okay? I'll be right back. Okay, it's saying the game is playable, so let me close everything except for Steam. Oh, I should download the latest drivers. I'm like completely out of I'm completely out of this world on this. I should have done this earlier. Game ready drivers. What? Drivers. It just says learn more. Oh, download. Oh, don't do the latest drivers. That's right. That's right. Thank you. Oh my gosh. You're right. Don't do the drivers. Baru said they cause crashes. Thank you for saying that. Okay. Let me make sure I can get in the game. Let me make sure I can like get in the game and play before we switch gears on YouTube. Okay. Thanks, guys, for the great turnout as well today on Purple. It means a lot. We've been back on Purple since April, and it's just awesome to have such a good turnout today. Okay. Okay. Borderlands 4 has shinies, phosphines. They're shiny versions of legendary weapons, cosmetics. It adds no extra stats or such a thing. Oh, so it's just cosmetic differences. That's cool. Yeah, I'm not commenting on any of that, FCat. Don't bring that to my chat, please. Well, chat, it's the PC Master Race experience. It's the first boss. It's the first boss, boys. Oh, it downloaded so fast, man. I can't wait. Oh, let's get in here and play. Compiling shaders. It's actually going pretty fast, so. Of all of the games where this probably won't be too big of a problem, this is probably one of the games that'll be a pretty quick journey here. Oh boy. Okay. Why do PCs do this? My assumption as a layman is that you've downloaded and installed the game, but this step is required. It's like they can't do this in the download. They can't do this on the install. It's like, it's not a thing. They have to do it once the game is on your system. It's the most sound I've ever heard my computer over there make. It's always so quiet. I can actually hear the fans doing stuff. All right, Discord. Gonna hit you guys up. New stream that we'll be going to shortly. I don't know if this is making any sound, by the way. Should it be? Oh, I plugged my stupid controller in. I'll do it in a second. Anytime you plug your controller in, it changes the audio device. I don't hear anything coming out of my controller, so it's hard to know. Okay. Subtitles, yes, yes, yes. Continue. Oh, there we go. Hang on. Okay, we're getting sound. Menu text scaling, color preset. Continue, master volume. Continue, sensor core off, reticle position, center, toggle radar display, compass, radar. Yeah, let's try compass. I don't actually know what I want. Confirm. Just let me in. I wonder if we should stay offline. Okay. Windowed full screen. 60. VSync's got to be on, or we will get screen tearing. 39. Invert controller. Y-axis. No, I don't want people to be able to join me. How do I start playing? Oh, new game. How do I change it to where... Session options. Okay. Okay.
So... you want to hear a story, huh?
We'll go to the new stream once I can actually play.
Still has a few tales to tell. And this one, this is the start of something new. A spark that just might leave the galaxies themselves ablaze. It all started here. The planet Kairos. Heard of it? Of course not, and for good reason. For thousands of years, it was a place of legend, hidden from the outside universe. The only way you found it was by accident or chance. And if you did, well, you weren't ever going to leave. For Kairos was a prison, ruled by a tyrant made immortal by alien technology. They called him the Timekeeper, and his order was nothing less than absolute. What was the secret, you ask, that justified keeping an entire planet in chains? A vault, at the center of his seat of power. Whispers told of unknowable treasures, locked away inside. Perhaps even the source of his immortality. But where there are vaults, you will always find vault hunters. Fearsome warriors, driven by dreams of glory, wealth, knowledge, and power. The Timekeeper's order was perfect. It was supposed to last forever. But vault hunters, They have a way of screwing up your plans. This new story? Well, it begins 6 years after Mayhem first came to Kairos. 6 years after the sky turned to fire.
We're going to get an intro with copyrighted music. Yeah, that'll definitely get muted. That'll definitely get copyright claimed. That's okay. You got to let the opening of Borderlands play. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. You guys on YouTube got to help me out. We got to shift gears to the new stream. Let me make sure I've got the correct hyperlink to give you guys. I do. All right, let me give you guys the link. Please click that link. Who am I running with? I honestly don't know. Oops, wrong controller. I'm torn between, because I'm going to play as Rafa with my wife. I'm torn between Harlow and Vex. I'm kind of torn between the two because my wife's going to play as Vex and I usually play as the Siren by myself. I feel like she's going to be good for crowd control. But there's the link in chat. Let me start the new stream. Thank you so much for checking out this video. If you are watching this later, this is me diving in for the very first time into Borderlands 4 gameplay on my PC. I will also be playing it on my PS5 Pro. I'll also be doing co-op streams with my wife. So make sure you're subscribed to my YouTube or follow me over there on the purple platform. Those are the two places you'll be able to consume those streams and content. Since my wife is going to be the Siren when we play together, I'm kind of debating between playing as the Siren or Harlow. I am going to be playing as I am going to be playing as Rafa when I play with her, so he's kind of my first go-to. So I'm kind of stuck. I'm not really sure who I should pick. Maybe I should let chat determine it. Let me end the previous stream and redirect folks over. Thank you guys so much for supporting